Okay, fine. I turned it on.
Hello, and welcome to Live, Laugh, Stuck for all the 0 people who are here because we just started a second ago.
Currently booting computers.
Yeah, well, I mean, the computer was just to, like, share it on things, and I forgot about it until now. Because we are 4 people with ADHD, and we forget things. But, no, I mean, we're doing a live Q&A. Part of this is just for whenever I upload it to YouTube, so it's just not enough a bunch of nothing. We got some cues that we will, that sounds weird.
Yes.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to kink shame, but I think I'm just going to sit that one out.
Yeah. Domi is making some Homestuck tea for us to try. Do you know the names of all? Because some of these have the names on them.
I have the names of all of them.
Okay, cool. Because one of them is just like the heart symbol.
Yeah.
With no name. But yeah, we might do a class spec quiz because we have Moosie's aspect according to the official quiz, but we don't have a class. And Class Spec Denon just released a class quiz and an aspect quiz just the other day. So, and Class Spec Denon is cool shit. We got stuff going on.
I would also suggest we do a quick sound test and just have someone connect to the stream to make sure everything's working.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it does appear to be working. There are multiple things that say our sound is going out.
Yeah.
Usually
I just want to make sure. I don't trust technology.
And I got an email that I'm pretty sure, Amberlyn is live. Jack's arrived for 4:13. That's incorrect.
Oh, that's very wrong.
No, I need to change. I just don't know how to change the description ahead of time. That was another reason I was going to get Twitch up and do it.
Oh, I think I can do it from here.
Can you do
it? Stream information.
Do you want to type that on your PS3 controller?
No, I fucking do not.
Then don't.
I'll type it for you.
Yeah. Just change.
What's the
change
title?
Live, Laugh, Stuck Q&A for Karkat Day. And then it's...
Oh, goodness.
I wish I was streaming
dang.
this so they could see it.
Yeah.
I'm adjusting to your keyboard.
Okay, sure.
That
But-
keyboard is just like the tiniest bit non-standard.
Yeah, it's kind of unresponsive at times.
Yeah.
Go live notification?
Literally does not matter because we're already live.
We're already live. Yeah, we're already live.
And we're
You can
playing...
just change it to chatting. No, don't say done. Change the category to just chatting. This should be something just called just chatting.
Just chatting. Or chatty, or chatterbox.
This one has the most numbers.
Are we good?
It should
Stream
be.
language in English.
Yeah.
What are we classified as?
What are we classified as?
Content classification.
Oh no.
Well, we're not gambling.
Okay.
Are we...
I don't think it's significant.
No, it's not.
I don't think our vulgarity is
Yeah, I
significant.
think we're good. Stream info updated.
Okay. So we're I got everyone together last night to make sure we had everything prepared for this. This is where Moosie made the very lovely gifts you are seeing. It's all very, very cute. And then you just always forget stuff. We always forget stuff. Even 15 minutes, like we started preparing for this 15 minutes ahead of time, and then we realized like things we needed to do, and then we got distracted by something else entirely, like 5 minutes till.
It was my fault.
It happens. Again, we are just 4 people with ADHD who are very good at shit.
We're good at our job. We're professionals.
We are professionals, technically, getting paid to us. We're getting paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which two?
Well, I guess Domi's not getting paid for
I'm
this.
not getting paid shit for this. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, not for this in specific. But, like, in general.
That's why I'm going to be getting up and making tea periodically.
Because I don't pay you?
Yeah. If you paid me, I would have made all the tea ahead of time like a professional.
It's pretty cold. You would have to reheat tea.
I don't know
Then it
what
would
you
be
want,
cold,
man.
like a professional.
Then it'd be cold like a professional. So, we'll start off with the normal question. How did everyone get into Homestuck? Domi,
Yeah.
you go first.
So I was in high school, and some people were talking about Vriska at a lunch table.
Of course you got into it because of Vriska!
And they were talking about trolls, and I didn't have any context for what these things were supposed to look like, so I had a very different vision of Homestuck based
Yeah.
on this conversation than what I found when I looked it up for the first time. And at first I thought I just had found the wrong thing entirely until I came back to it a couple months later.
Were you thinking of those long-haired trolls that were popular in the 90s with the
Like-
gems in their bellies?
Or a bridge troll.
I was thinking of like Warhammer 40k orcs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You're a nerd.
I didn't know about Warhammer. That's just the closest aesthetic thing that can come to
Okay,
mind.
gotcha. I was about to say, it's like you're already,
Oh, the tea is yelling at us.
you're already into Magic the Gathering. Of course, Warhammer.
Yeah, Magic's probably a better thing for what I was thinking of at the time. But
Yeah.
like, big, muscular, absurdly broad.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's how I got into Homestuck. The thing that actually got me to look into it for real was when somebody tried to class spec me.
Oh,
And
that
I
would
was,
do it.
And I was like, I need to know. I need to
Yeah.
know more.
Listen, if we can sort ourselves into fun little boxes and give ourselves cute little outfits, got us.
Yeah, it's true.
Justin,
What?
Tensei, Justin, Tensei,
Yeah.
not that Tensei.
Not that one, yes. Okay. All right. Hey, chat.
Chat.
Hey, chat. Let's go back to the magical year of 2007.
Jesus, that's before Homestuck for sure. Homestuck's in 2009. You said 2007.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Did it start in 2009?
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
We just listened to like the first episode of Homestuck Made This World on the way over too.
Yeah. And
Then,
he said
then,
2008 on it,
then
actually.
I have conflating memories.
Oh.
Because I have a memory of first finding Homestuck when I was at college in Fort Hays, and that was the fall semester of 2007.
Yeah.
So that
Literally not possible.
so that cannot be possible.
Are you that much older than me? 2 years?
I'm 35.
Yeah, you're 2 years older than me.
Whatever. Anyway, so I know that I found Homestuck very soon after it began, and I found it through a Firefox browser extension called StumbleUpon.
Oh.
Which because
Wow.
yeah.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, because it hasn't been around for a while. StumbleUpon was a browser extension that you sort of put your interests into, and then there was a button that just took you to a random web page based on those interests. One of my interests was webcomics because I had been enjoying 8-bit theater, nuclear power, and wanted to see more of that. So StumbleUpon took me to page 1 of Homestuck, where I read it, and I was really enjoying the writing. It spoke to me somehow. Like, I found this out now that Hussey writes in the same way that my brain sort of parses the world naturally. So that writing just clicked with me instantly, and I got to the page right before John bit the apple. And I clicked the stumble button again and got away from it. I said, I'm done with this for now. I'm gonna keep doing random. And
You got through almost the entirety of Act 1 before you're like, that's enough.
yeah. I like
When shit's popping off,
right.
finally things are happening in this.
Yep. I remember I got to the apple and I'm like, all right, that's enough of that for now. And I just went on and I didn't bookmark it. I didn't remember the name of it. And I didn't find it again until 2 or 3 years later.
That's so fucking funny.
Where I read... No, it was longer than that. Because when I found it the second time, I read all the way up through Game Over. Which was where the comic had ended at the time.
Yeah.
What part was that at? I don't
We haven't
remember.
gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
That was
so
a
I'm not going
lot.
to say anything more about it.
No, it's the gigapause.
Okay.
So we're
Yeah.
almost there. This next reading, you will get there.
Yeah, I think, I think like after I stopped reading it, there was one more page that was released before the Gigapause. So whenever that started is when my second read through in quotes
Yeah.
began.
Honestly, not any better of a cliffhanger, to be honest.
Right? But I had so much more context, and I was so much more into it. I personally really fucking love time and dimensional shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
So and the complexity of this story, especially at that point, it all fucking drew me back in, and I absolutely love it.
Were you the sort of person who, like me, also just, like, really enjoyed Act 1?
So Homestuck is all kind of one story in my brain,
Yeah.
so I have a hard time sort of finding where Act 1 kind of
Fair.
stops.
Just like that initial
the
bit
John,
of, like, John
when John
fucking
bites
around
the
with
apple.
the Sylladex and shit.
Yeah.
The next thing is when Act 1 stops.
Right. But yes, I actually do really enjoy the like the sort of like puzzly and programmy aspect of Homestuck. I like Syllodexes. I like Strife Specibus and the limitations of that. I liked fucking Moduses.
No, they're great. They're fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no, I actually really enjoyed trying to figure out like how that worked. I know it kind of gets laughed at in some more recent things of like, oh, who cares about that? We're gonna forget they ever existed. I liked it.
Yeah.
I was the target audience.
Yeah. The rare target audience for that didn't drop off in Act 6.
Right?
Yeah. How does an actual programmer feel about Act 1 and its programming?
I mean, I remember I was taking a lot of notes on paper at that point. And writing down all the different things like the Sylladex or the inventory card numbers and I don't know what all came up and stuff. I was trying to figure out if it would be relevant and it wasn't further down.
It's impossible to tell what will and won't
Yeah.
be relevant,
Right.
honestly.
At first, I liked the idea of the data structures, inventory systems, but then there was incongruencies, like why would you implement a queue on a fixed array instead of a dynamic array? Generally, also, if you try to push to a full queue or array, you wouldn't just jettison data because that would be bad design. So...
I feel like that would be bad design is just how Spurb works, though.
Yeah. Your problem here is that you're like, oh, I could have coded that data structure better, when the whole point is that they're poorly coded.
Right.
Yeah.
But who's coding the
But like that was before Spurb. Capture logs and Syllodexes were before Spurb came out.
That's true. Yeah. I
who
don't know.
programmed their inventories?
Sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, Skynet Systems was the one that was releasing all the Spurb tech, right?
Which was Jake Harley.
Yeah.
So it's Jake Harley's fault.
Yeah.
Sure.
Blame it on Grandpa.
It's probably like an old COBOL programmer.
The idea of Jake Harley knowing how to program is very funny.
Yeah, well, he didn't.
But didn't he get like Bro and Mom Lalonde to do it?
Yeah, it's Mom's fault.
It's Mom's fault.
Mom's fault.
It's Beta Roxy's fault.
That's why she's drinking.
Because she just programmed the worst shit.
She drinks to forget her sins.
I have to watch my daughter fuck with her goddamn Sylladex all day, and it's my fault.
Why did I even make a tree?
That's so fucking yeah. How did you first learn about Homestuck?
I mean, I don't really remember specifically. I know in the past 20 years at some point, somebody mentioned it to me, and I probably scrolled through the first couple pages or, clicked through them, and I was like, And, have heard of it throughout being on the internet, but not really been in depth into it. So, yeah, I guess because it's been like a part of internet culture, I was curious as to what it actually was and why so many people were into it and like its legacy and stuff. So, that's kind of why I was interested.
Yeah. And now you're stuck with this forever.
Yep.
Because we've been doing this for almost a year and a half by now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the slowest I've ever read Homestuck, minus the Gigapause.
Yeah.
Because that lasted a year and a half.
Right, yeah. But yeah, so this is the slowest I've had to absorb Homestuck, and we still have a ways to go. Like not even including all the extra stuff that we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very exciting. I guess huh?
Have you given context for how much further you have to go?
So we just finished Act 6, Intermission 1, I think is what it's called.
Oh, so you're
And
a ways in.
I know when
Yeah.
we started Act 6, that was like going to be the next half. Like
Yeah.
half
Yeah.
of the pages worth of it.
So Caliborn has just taken control of Homestuck.
Yeah, okay.
And John's going around and getting rid of all the pixie dust glitches.
Yeah. So the way I've started describing Homestuck's length to people who haven't gotten into it is that Homestuck is a 6-act play. But in the 6th act, they decide to put another 6-act play. And then at the end of that 6-act play, they decide to put a third 6-act play.
Except it's a much shorter one.
Right. Before you get to the secret 7th act, and then it's over, except for all the stuff that came after.
Yeah.
which you can buy into or disregard at your leisure.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's how I've begun. Because look, I love Homestuck and I want more people to read it, but I also want them to know that they are getting into a task if they are to start.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a really good way to describe the sort of enormity of it all.
Yeah. It's...
Last year I'd be playing like Final Fantasy XIV while reading it, and I'm like, I'm just doing my homework right now.
Which part was the homework? Homestuck or your dailies?
No, reading Homestuck. I'd just be idling in Limsa.
I got into Homestuck because I guess it's my turn now. I got into Homestuck because I was on Tumblr since late 2011, so obviously Homestuck was a big thing on there. And I was really into webcomics. I had an RSS feed full dozens, over 100, maybe over 200 or 300 webcomics that I was like sort of keeping up with. And Homestuck just seemed like another webcomic that people were kind of into, but like it wasn't really in my circle of stuff. Because I mainly like one webcomic artist recommended other webcomics, and I got into those who recommended others, and it was just this whole network of stuff. And then Jeff Jocks, who is the creator of Questionable Content, was pretty active on Tumblr at the time. A lot of webcomic artists were. And he drew one of his characters with the anime shades, and someone was weird about Homestuck in the notes, and he's like, hey, fuck off. Hussey's one of my friends. Don't be weird about him. And I'm like, oh, well, if Jeff Jocks approves, then I'm going to try Homestuck. I feel like maybe at some point I started it and stopped after Act 1 or 2, because I feel like I remember reading the beginning of it twice, but I don't know if it was that attempt or this was my real attempt to try to get into it. But yeah, I got into it and I read, and I also got caught up at the Gigapause. So, which I think is a really easy place to get caught up to because it lasted for a year and a half. But I feel like I at least got the last... I might have been like you and got like the last page live or the last couple of pages live. I might have watched that flash before the Gigapause live, but that was around the time. Actually, you know what? I found out about the Kickstarter while that was still live. So that was around Mina Quest.
Okay.
So I might have gotten caught up around Mina Quest, but it's just like that Gigapause is because it was paused for a year and a half. Like
Yeah.
that's the most memorable part
I remember when I got to the Gigapause, because I also caught up to the Gigapause, right? I remember when I got there, it was like, I want to say I caught up like right as the Gigapause started. Like I didn't read any pages live, but I still remember waiting like a year and a half. And I do think it's interesting that even though you were like, it's an easy point to get caught up to, that we all still caught up near-ish the start of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say Mina Quest also almost made me stop.
I
That's
loved
fair.
Mina Quest.
I don't want to work for the story of Homestuck. Don't make me do that.
Isn't that
Just-
all of Homestuck?
Don't make me physically work for the story of home. Mentally, I'm fine with. I'm fine with like taking that all into my brain and like, all right, I got it. I understand. Don't make me play a fucking boring video game.
Yeah.
Are
A
we
bad
really going to
video
call
game.
Mina Quest the story of Homestuck?
It's part of the story of Homestuck.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's included in the story, like
Yeah.
explicitly.
It's where we get a very large chunk of our Dancestor information. Like
99% of it. If
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not about Mina or Arania.
It's not really plot relevant, though.
Yeah.
there are a couple plot relevant bits in it, but
It's so funny.
it is a lot of fluff. That is also why I kind of disliked it, because by that point in the story, I was better at determining what would be relevant in the future and what wouldn't be, and everything was just screaming at me of like, this is not important.
Yeah.
Every time the Troll Blood store pops up, I'm like, I'm not reading this.
I love the words Troll Blood store right next to each other, by the way. It's
Yeah, and that wasn't even the Troll Blood store. That was the information booth
yeah.
where you got money to learn things.
Yeah.
That too, yeah.
That's also a very good concept. I will pay you if you'll listen to me. Please, please.
A reverse podcast.
No, that is actually the premise of the Hyperfixation podcast, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's extremely good. Yeah, I loved Mina Quest, even though I never became a huge Dancestor fan. But what's really funny is there's stuff in Mina Quest that, like, I realized that we were talking on an episode that I don't think it's been released yet, but I was listening to Homestuck Made This World, and they're like, oh yeah, off screen, I guess this stuff with Gamzee and Terezi was happening, and we only find out about it when we find Terezi drunk. And I'm like, no, you find out about it in Mina Quest if you control Rose and go to a room and Gamzee's there, and Gamzee tells Rose about his black relationship with Terezi. You never have to be Rose for anything, but if you become Rose and go into that room, that's how you find out about it.
I think the first time I played through Mina Quest, I skipped large portions of it because it's very easy to do so.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And, like, at that point in the game, like, actually, I skipped a lot of Homestuck's, like, play game sections the first time I read it. Like, because I had kind of gathered very quickly that, like, if there is plot-relevant stuff in here, I will have it re-explained to me, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
That's what I tell Moosie all the time.
Yeah. Like, I straight up did not play Miststuck the first time I read Homestuck. The
Oh,
bit with
really?
Jane. Yeah, no, which is wild because I'm the Jane person.
You're the Jane
right?
person. What are you
Earlier
doing?
on, I would just watch YouTube videos of people playing the game, so I wouldn't like miss any of the actual content. But at this point, I'm like,
Yeah.
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 what's the beeline to finish this?
I did go back and watch and get a lot of the open-bound content afterwards, just because my trajectory through the Homestuck fandom was that immediately once I caught up, I got into role-playing, and, like, there was a Dancestor culture at the time, right? Just as there kind of is now. And so, like, I went back and I got the character information because I just wanted to expand the characters I could play, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of watching people like just go through these on YouTube videos or whatever, Let's Read Homestuck is such a great way to experience this story now.
Yeah.
That's how I was reading most of Act 6. I realized there was a reading aloud one, but then it ran out of one, so now I'm just reading again.
Yeah, it ran out of read.
Real quick, Domi made some tea before it gets cold. Domi, do you want to talk about the tea? That we
Okay,
got?
yeah, sure. I should have gone ahead and pulled it up so that I could read the ingredients list. That was foolish of me.
Do you want me to make a
You
distraction?
should come back towards the mic while talking about it.
Do you want?
That's a good point.
Do you want us to drink it and then you tell us what's in it?
Yeah, sure. I'll go ahead and pass a mug to each of you. And did you say you just don't want to drink tea, Justin?
I'm not a fan of tea.
Okay, then yeah, don't worry
yeah.
about it.
I said, well, no, it'll get cold, and it's still so hot.
Ex-
I say
Yeah, no,
I could
definitely.
see the steam as Domi was passing it to the two of you.
Yeah.
We can do this later if you'd like.
Maybe. I don't know. What do you think? Is it? I thought I saw you sipping.
No.
Silently waiting on.
Everyone.
It's not hot enough to burn your tongue. At least my cup.
Okay.
Don't sue me if you do.
Gonna sue Moosie for damages.
So this is Moonsetter Tea. Moonsetter, of course, being the song that the intro is based on.
The intro to my
The intro to the
podcast.
podcast. Yes, yes.
Called, what is the name for the intro? Domi?
Dirty
The full-
Dirt Kinney.
What is the full name?
Dirty Dirt Kinney talks about Homestuck for half an hour or so.
Yeah.
Except it's like an hour now.
Yeah.
Is that part of the title? Except it's like an hour now.
You can edit it.
I think it is. Yeah, I think I did. I think I changed the description.
That's so fucking funny. Yeah, I did get Domi editing it when it was only about half an hour, and it's just been slowly getting bigger. And I need to try to pare it down. Or pay her more.
So Moonsetter is a black tea with some blueberry flavor, some orange and spearmint, blue corn flowers, raspberry leaves, some vanilla, and some bergamot and cream.
It doesn't taste like
What is-
anything to me.
What
Fair.
is, what is
Spearmint.
bergamot?
I don't know. Let me look it up. Am I pronouncing it right even? Who knows? I just assume it's French.
I did taste the spearmint.
If it's French, how many characters did you not pronounce?
It's like a type of orange, I guess. I would yeah.
You take a sip, Domi.
I had a teensy sip earlier to see how hot it was, or to see if it had steeped before I poured yours. If you like mint teas, it's very much it could be your thing.
Yeah.
I can definitely I can smell the mint. That's the only flavor
Yeah.
that I can smell
Yeah.
out of this tea.
Maybe I'm just too used to the mint flavored teas.
That's
to
fair.
really
Yeah.
like pay attention.
I like it quite a bit. These are, for the record, I guess, if anybody's curious, all of these came from...
Sorry, that's stressing.
Yeah, fair enough. All of these came from Adagio teas, which is like you go in and you can like just kind of custom construct a tea blend, and they have a section for a bunch of fandom stuff. And if you listened to the ship name episodes, then you might remember when I found this through the Pistol Pony Rodeo tea, which we'll have a bit later.
Did we... I forget what episode we did that on, because we have one episode that hasn't been released yet for the ship name episode. But, yeah, how do you spell the name of that website?
ADAGIO.com.
Yeah, I would never guess that.
It's like a music term.
Oh. Wrong website. This is a tea site.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, tea is a music term.
Eh?
Is it?
It's not in the normal.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti.
Okay.
I am...
Tea, a drink with jam and bread.
Yeah.
So, where's the jam and bread? Justin? Bad host.
do you want that? I
No.
do have that.
Absolutely not. Bad, not podcasting. Bad audio. Unless that's the sort of audio we're doing, which we're not.
No. No, thank you.
This is not an ASMR mic. It will not do that.
Get an ASMR mic, and we'll just do some Homestuck ASMR.
What would that be?
What would...
Sipping Homestuck tea while eating jam and bread.
I fucking guess.
No, we'd have to make some gooey noises for sober slime.
Oh, God.
I can't stand that.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have to listen to it. You just have to make it.
Look, the next time we do this, you're gonna come over, and I'm gonna have one of those microphones with the ears on it.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
We should have bought some Faygo. I should have had Domi buy some Faygo to
Yeah.
try. Because I don't think I have any Faygo around me, which is sad.
I think the closest Faygo is.
Don't dox yourself.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
I didn't even think to grab Faygo because I was so honed in on, like, I have 6 teas, and that's already so much to make people drink.
Yeah.
That's fair. There's 4 of us in one bathroom.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know we're going to get through all of them. I won't be offended if we don't.
Yeah, that is because we did 1 and we have 5 more.
Yeah, I just grabbed some that I thought would that I thought were cool or that appealed to you in particular.
Yeah, appeal to me in particular. It's my podcast. I get the tea.
Yeah, like half of these are Dirk related in some way.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember when I was a Prince of Heart and I was just full on Dirk Kinney? And I still have that. Like, I have my username in the podcast Discord is Prince of Nowhere. And now I'm not even a prince, so it makes no sense anymore. Seer of Nowhere is nothing.
There's a prince
See-
on
Seer-
screen right now.
Seer of Nowhere is just, you need to open your eyes.
Yeah.
You're still branded as a prince. You
Yeah.
know that, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's my podcast classback.
Fair enough.
The the podcast is a prince.
Yeah.
Podcast Sona.
Yeah, my podcast known as the Prince of Heart. Listen, sometimes you get really good art and you don't have money to get different really good art. And that's how it is. Good transition to what is everyone's class specs that I started without meaning to, and then I'm like, oh, this is a transition to something else we can talk about.
As always in podcast casting, you have to bring up the transition as it
Yeah,
happens.
if you're not making the
That's not what I
transition
want.
obvious, is it even really a transition? Anyway, Domi, again, I'm just going like
Yeah.
we're in a circle. We're in a circle around a microphone. I feel like we should have a campfire in the middle of us. Like, it's anyway.
I've got a
Domi.
fire pit out back.
Well, that's not in here, is it?
I could move it
Well, do you want to set your house on fire?
sometimes.
Domi, what's your...
Yeah, so if you ask me this question, I'll tell you it's complicated, and then I'll tell you that I'm an heir of time. It's by Edit Sona, I guess. Edit Sona. Yeah. If I've got a podcast Sona, I get an Edit Sona.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I latched on really tightly to Heir of Time around the 2019 era. And so that's been it for a while. And then I was a Heart player for a bit. And now I'm kind of floating somewhere because my brother is like really big into class specting and always finding the new theories. And has like hard negotiated me out of being an Heir of Time. But fuck it, I'm an Heir of Time.
Your brother's pressuring you to not be an heir of time?
Because I'm not going to put him on blast.
What is can you say what he thinks you are?
He thinks I'm a sylph, and has been pushing me towards breath as an aspect.
Sometimes brothers are wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay.
I can see the argument for sylph. Maybe
yeah,
not for
It's
breath.
just the breath is like, I don't know. Stay tuned for when I have my own class spec theory.
Is breath and air different than... Because it sounds
Air,
like it's-
A-H-E-I-R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Air is the class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hair. Also bad.
Hair of breath. No. Nope. Nope.
I do still quite like Heir of Time though, for the like, you know, all the editing I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mess around with sound a lot, and time has some vague connotations of being the sound aspect, even if I don't love all of the, like, death and stuff that plays into it all the time. But sometimes it's fun for that stuff to be, like, unintended consequence, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of characters struggle with a lot of different parts of their aspect.
If you fuck up your editing, you kill a podcast. That sounds like I'm putting a lot of pressure on you.
No, not at all.
Okay. Justin.
So this changes based on just what I'm feeling at any given moment.
Cool.
I'm gonna be honest.
Cool.
You're class-spect queer.
Yeah, sure.
Fluid.
Words are hard sometimes. Yeah. Anyway, I have pulled up the new unified theory of class spec
hated
theory
that.
or whatever.
I don't hate it. I'm being overly negative. I'm not a fan of it.
I like it.
I like aspects of it, and I don't like other aspects of it.
This was my final straw to start making my own theory.
Was how much you don't like this one?
It's just like, because it almost gets some things right, and then I just disagree so hard with some stuff. And I'm like, fine, I'll do it myself.
So I will say, I think the new unified class theory of class spec theory or whatever goes really hard into its own ideas, and it takes them a bit too far.
Yeah.
Because the entire theory of it is, okay, I'm gonna make a class spec thing based only on what we actually see happen in the comic. Nothing about what we're told. Everyone is an unreliable narrator, and I think it takes that too far because
Yeah.
it just discounts the narration and doesn't try and think about what led to that narration and description in the first place.
Yeah.
So I do think that it's missing that bit, but I also do really enjoy it because I never liked a lot of the explanations that went into like posing or passive, and I never liked a lot of that. It never felt correct, even with the way it was explained in the comic.
Yeah.
Which is why I've latched onto this one so much. But anyway, to answer the actual question, I am right now going to say Mage of Hope, one who uses knowledge of imagination not mage, other one. Rogue. I had these backwards.
Cool.
One who distributes imagination to other people. And it's because I do actual plays and shit, and I like playing characters, and I like making people come along and play imagination with me. That's really it.
That's very cool. I like that.
That's good shit. It is funny that we do have the quizzes for a completely different class spec theory.
Yeah,
Um,
which I'm excited to get into in a little bit.
Yeah, especially since it changed since I first posted it in the server, because unfortunately people were asses to class specting on, and so they added 7 more questions onto the aspect quiz.
Okay.
Yeah. Moosie.
Hi, I'm reading the list.
Yeah, so we took the class spec quiz on the podcast, or the official aspect quiz on the podcast, except it was kind of extra content that we saved for our supporters. You can go to ko-fi.com/jaxyaks and subscribe for $1 a month, and you'll get bonus content, including class specting or aspecting Moosie. But Moosie, you ended up being a breath player. Any vibes about that? That's John and Tavros and Rufio.
This thing here says the aspect of freedom for breath.
Well, you can ignore that. You can go
Okay.
off vibes.
Oh.
Your own personal vibes. What do you think about John?
Blood, doom, light, space, hope, void, life, breath, rage, time, heart, mind.
Oh, you're all of them.
No, I was just reading what
The Avatar, the
options
master
are.
of all aspects.
I mean, I like John.
John's cool.
He's dopey.
Oh, sorry. If we turn this into Avatar, there's so many of these that sound really cool. Everybody lived in harmony until the Blood Nation attacked. Like,
Yeah. Any of the classes stand out to you?
Well, it's weird because they're all related to aspects, so it's like burdened by the aspect, heals their aspect, and others.
Well, go by vibes.
could also go by vibes character-wise. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to ignore the list, you could be like, I relate to this character in this
Yeah.
way, and then we can tell you what their class and aspect is.
I mean, I feel like knowledge of their aspect to serve others would apply if there was a programming aspect.
That's Doom, I think.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
kind of Doom.
Inevitability?
Yeah.
How's inevitability programming? Because
Well,
you write the
again,
instructions?
That is what one person is saying those mean.
Yeah. Also, you could put programming as inevitability because programming always follows itself. It will always end up at a specific place given the same inputs.
Unless you have undefined behavior because you programmed it bad.
Right. Well, then it will end up in an error every time.
But you don't know what that
Which
error
is-
is going to be.
Which is also pretty doomy.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that is true. So I'm teaching others about Doom. So would that be like the seer of Doom?
Yeah.
No-
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I was a Prince of Heart, but okay, so for the majority of the time, I was a fan of Homestuck. I was not in the fandom. I didn't really engage that much with class specting. I took a couple of class spec quizzes, and I think at one point I was a mage of time, but I didn't like cling on to that as my identity. I was like, oh, cool, these like 3 different things like got me mage of time, and then I got more into the Homestuck fandom side of things and actually engaging with my Homestuck podcast. Yes, the Homestuck podcast came before I started engaging with the fandom.
As
And,
it should.
I went through my Gay Stuck, which was my first series of episodes, and I became a huge fan of Dirk, and I kind of obsessed over Dirk, and I really liked his class specs, so I was a Prince of Heart. And 2 weeks later, the epilogues came out. In case you want to know my tragic backstory. That I did not become a Dirk fan until 2 weeks before the epilogues.
Wow.
yeah.
That's fucking timing.
Yeah,
It's rough. I remember watching that happen to you.
yeah,
Foreshadowing for me for probably months in the future.
yeah, probably, yeah, months.
Are you a Dirk fan?
I don't know. I mean,
Well,
like, I
but, like-
don't know what this refers
Okay,
to.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna go over the epilogues?
Probably.
Okay. All right. Good fucking luck.
My
Have fun.
Yeah, so that because I've been deciding if I want to do. I will inevitably read Homestuck too.
I could just read it and give you like a book report, and that could be the podcast.
Well, okay. See, here's the thing. Homestuck is that you've been reading so far is not bite-sized. That's not really what I want to say. Because that's not correct.
No.
Yeah,
But
no.
like each page is
A page.
okay. All right. Do you see that black and white book up there on the top shelf that's pretty thick?
Yes, visual references in a podcast.
Right.
I
Well, this
can't
is-
read it because my glasses.
You don't have to
That's
read it.
that's
It's
fine.
like
You don't need to
size.
read
I
it. You
can
just need
get
to
it.
see about the size of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is
Oh,
the
that is a book.
This is the
on the
Homestuck
epilogues.
epilogues. There are no pictures in this book. This is all.
It's only text.
Yep.
It's
This
only
is,
text.
this is all. The Homestuck epilogues are text only.
They
Is
are.
that
This
different
is
from Homestuck 2?
Yes.
yes. Homestuck 2 comes after the epilogues because fuck literary. It's not a trope. That's just how it works.
Well, that's Homestuck, and it's entirely like we've gotten to the point where the intermissions are the main part of Homestuck in Act 6.
I think
Yeah.
everyone can agree. Homestuck's act structure is a little bit silly.
Yeah.
Just yeah. It's fun, you know.
But suffice to say that if you are a fan of the Alpha Kids, I'm sorry. That is the epilogues thing. Is like Roxy fans come out better, depending on your feelings. But in general, I would still argue that Alpha Kids as a whole, including Roxy, do not come out looking good, especially in the Candy timeline.
Candy.
Well, Take it. Just
Okay,
go with
all right,
it. Oh,
all
you're
right.
gonna
A,
explain it?
B, and
Yeah.
C timeline?
I'm just gonna
No.
do a quick.
I wish there were 3 timelines.
Take a-
I would give nothing more than for there
I want
to
you
be a
to. I
third
want you to
timeline.
take a real good look at this cover here.
Yeah. It's black with the Homestuck logo and a stake. It's volume steak.
Volume meat, volume candy.
It's 2 books.
This is 2 books.
Okay.
That's why we call it the epilogues.
That's why you can kind of see the middle here.
Yeah.
Because you literally like flip the book. It's literally just upside down.
Which is a neat printing trick.
Yeah.
It is.
But-
That's very cool.
I do kind of want to. I wish I would have bought that. I assume it's not out anywhere anymore.
I don't fucking
Maybe
know.
eBay.
Yeah. Maybe.
See how much that is.
One day I'll read the epilogues, and when I do, I'll get my hands on a
I'm
physical
still
copy.
so fucking mad you haven't. I'm not. I'm exaggerating. But it's like, because Domi, are you currently reading Homestuck 2, or have you just read some of it?
I've read portions of Homestuck 2. I thought when the new team took over that I was gonna, like, just start where the new team took over and read from there. But then I didn't actually do that.
Yeah, that would also be very difficult to do.
Would it?
Yeah.
Well,
Homestuck
they
2 uses a lot that the epilogues set up.
Do they, or do they make? Sorry, I'm not gonna.
They make up a lot of their own shit. They also ignore a lot of what the epilogue set up, or outright contradict it.
That's what makes
but
me so
also, yes, there are plot points in Homestuck 2 that were originally set up in the epilogues and are evolutions of them.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get too much into the discourse, especially because Moosie's here. So I'm not going
I
to
feel
go.
like a child in like the parental argument about politics or something.
Yeah,
We need to get you earmuffs when we're talking like this.
I have earplugs in my bag.
No.
Sensory issues.
like this. I'm not going to go into the details about anything, and I'm not going to go into any drama or discourse. Just like when I finished reading the epilogues, I had positive feelings about it. There are several things in the epilogues that I am very, very critical of, and I'm ignoring the reception to things and just like the epilogues as a text. But there are a lot of things that I really like how they did. And then I started reading Homestuck 2, and they undid several of those things in the first several pages that I read.
Yeah. They did.
And those were the things I really, really liked about it. And then I've just heard more about what they add into it, and it's very frustrating from a storytelling perspective. Some of the things I didn't like about the epilogues is because they did sort of retcon some things that were understood to be true at the end of original Homestuck. And I understood that more because it had been years since Homestuck ended, and I didn't really like it, but I could like conceptualize that. But then Homestuck 2 happened months after the epilogues dropped, and they immediately retconned stuff. And that is my frustration with Homestuck 2, just from the text itself, just looking at the work as it is.
Was there that little time between the epilogues and Homestuck 2?
It was not that long.
It was April, and by the end of 2019, Homestuck 2 started coming out.
I will say one of my motivations for finishing reading Homestuck is just how angry you sound. And I want to know why.
Yeah, you gotta know the deets.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going to read 8,000 pages to get the tea.
So here's the thing, right? I hate to be this bitch, I truly do, right? I know, Jax, you're giving me that look. But, like, here's the thing. Your frustration is entirely the point.
Right.
Both of these things are made to be inflammatory in that exact way. And, like, that's why I haven't read them, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
so, again, I'm going to try to move on to this really quickly, but are you saying that them retconning stuff from the epilogues is part of the point?
Yes.
Yes.
Does that sound like a hussy
I
thing
want
to do?
to burn everything down.
Even though I know there's other authors.
So,
but
like, you're right,
But
though.
does it happen? So, okay, so, like, this is so hard. I'm so sorry, Moosie.
no,
We're all, like, working around, but, like...
I feel like I have a good example of this that is not spoilery.
Okay.
So going back to something that I said earlier where I really... That's really cool fan. Oh my god.
Sorry,
I
it's
should've
from the
brought
dollar
mine.
store. I get overheated really easy.
No, you're
And
fine.
now we're in, like, a circle all
Yeah.
talking.
One of the things I said earlier along on this is that, like, I really enjoyed a lot of the Sylladex. I enjoyed a lot of the very technical parts of Homestuck that were introduced very early on. And one of the jokes that is definitely just the writer's opinion shining through very explicitly early on in Homestuck 2 is that they no longer care about any of that, and neither should you, the reader.
Well, yeah, it's Homestuck too. Why would you care about Silodexes and shit?
Right. I understand why they're not relevant anymore because we've sort of gotten past that boundary.
Yeah.
But it didn't write it like that. It didn't say this is, hey, a thing we've overcome. It said, hey, you shouldn't care about this because it's boring. And that's definitely the writer's opinion coming through the text. And I hate it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like,
okay.
me and Justin can't agree that the Silodexes are boring. We just talked about how we love them, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But that's the sort of like pointed statements that are made to get certain people upset. That's all throughout the epilogues and very early Homestuck. Are a lot of it feels like it was very explicitly written to point at specific
like a fuck you tour.
groups of fans and like get people angry or outraged or rage baited.
Yeah. Like, that's the entirety of Homestuck. Like, it is. And if it is more purposefully done in Homestuck 2, I might actually like it more. My understanding of it, from the few pages I read, it was just an immediate, oh, we just decided not to do it like this. And some of the writers were different in the Homestuck 2 than in the epilogues. So I thought maybe it was
Turn the AC down if you want.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay.
more of a... Oh, yeah, because Justin likes to keep everything hot because he's a lizard.
I do like look. That's why I have a fucking hoodie on as well because I turned the AC down already and I am very cold in my own house.
Yeah, it's pretty warm, folks. But
You can turn it down more.
I can also take my hoodie off if I really get hot. And I'm fine.
yeah. Okay, but if it is more of a purposeful thing that is, I don't want to say clearly broadcasted to say that it has to be like some super obvious thing, but if it is not just like the writers doing it because they didn't give a shit about the epilogues, but as a Homestuck is just like this statement, I might like it more. But that doesn't. I mean, you can like something more without liking it,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know if it's the writers saying like.
Okay.
So
I
we're
apologize.
yeah.
As your editor and stepping in as your producer,
Yeah.
we should move on to something else.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I understand. I did this.
Yeah.
I started this.
Fair
I
enough.
poked this
You're
there.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay.
I definitely have more things I want to say on this, but
You two can do an epilogues episode if you want to.
it involves a conversation that we had off mic that I don't want to rehash.
Fair enough. Okay, but let's get back to my class spec, which is what started this.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised I remembered. Anyway, so I was Prince of Heart for a while, and then in the past, like, year or two, I just didn't feel like that really suited me anymore. So I started looking into a bunch of different class spec theory and trying to figure it out. And this class spec theory that Justin mentioned is one of the things that got me onto Seer, along with my other reading. And then I started looking into class spec theory myself. Well, I decided on Seer before I started looking into class spec theory myself to create my own theory. So now I'm a Seer of Heart. I am a Heart player straight through. I don't care what anyone says. What any quiz can aspect me any other different way, but I'm
No
definitely a Heart
BuzzFeed
player.
quiz is gonna tell me who I am.
Well, okay, I'm saying this because the class spec on quiz I took 5 times total because I took it 4 times before it had questions added on to it, and then I took it again after it was added on, and I got breath, rage, breath, heart, breath. Or no, breath, rage, breath, heart, rage. So
Okay.
and one of the people in the podcast Discord is bullying me for being a breath player in denial. So, but which I don't mind a breath player. I have this one OC that I really like, and I bring him around everywhere with me. His name is Felix, and he is the love of my life and my self-insert at one point. Don't question it. And I class spec'd him as a mage of breath, so it works out. But yeah, and that's my class spec journey. It's just I ended up having a lot of Prince of Heart theming around everything, and I was like, I'm probably a seer now. I don't really agree with how it gets framed in a lot of class spec theory. Like the passive classes are like, well, this is what you do for others. I don't think I do shit for others. If others are helped by it, it's incidental. I'm exaggerating right now, but the tagline for my podcast before the hiatus was "Don't forget to be a little selfish," and yeah, I don't know. I just in my class deck theory that I'm still working on, I have like the seer versus mage, as seer is math versus mage is engineering. So the theoretical versus the practical is kind of my understanding about those two.
I wouldn't know where computer science fits into that.
Maybe it would just be different types of computer science. I mean, I'm sure there's more like theoretical sides of computer science.
I mean,
but
like,
it's probably leaning more practical.
As somebody with only a small amount of like programming knowledge, right? Like, wouldn't the like practical stuff be more like actually getting in and coding, whereas the more theoretical stuff is like, oh yeah, I'm really into like data structures and flowcharts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Which, like, not that there's a hard line. Obviously, like, engineering people are probably also super huge math nerds
Yeah.
and stuff.
Mm.
But, like, you know, this is a personality quiz that you get to decide what it is. Like, it's not hard and fast like astrology.
Yeah.
You know?
Class specting is hard, just because I feel like it would be very easy to say, oh, this is what I am, but the comic doesn't define class specs as what you are. It defines class specs as what you need in order to grow to be a better person, and better person means someone who is able to complete the game.
Yeah. Classes and aspects only actually make sense as a narrative theory and not as a IRL in-person theory.
I saw I saw a take on Tumblr once, and I cannot remember who it was from, and I wish I could remember their URL so that I could give them credit. But it basically added up to, like, my personal class spec theory is that Spurb is a janky RPG, and it basically autofills your party composition.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I can find that pretty easily.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah.
And it basically autofills your party composition to give you, like, you know, a space player and a time player and, like, whatever other, like, just fills you out with what you need. And, like, the reason the alphas don't have a space and a time player is because they're playing the alpha. The game is incomplete, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
And I do like that, but it is also deeply unsatisfying for the personality quiz crowd.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. That person is at Gaffic, Gap.
Gaffic, my friend. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're mutuals on Tumblr. I love Gaffic. I thought it sounded familiar. Of course it's Gaffic.
Yeah. GAPHIC.
Go follow Gaffic.
.tumblr.com.
Actually, you know, you'll see.
Yeah, and this is their short synopsis of their take. I'm not going to read the entire thing. But it's, okay, here's my take. It's literally not that deep, capitalized. Spurb is an incomplete RPG, not a deity or greater consciousness. It doesn't actually know what is good for the player's personal development. It is entirely skin deep.
That's so good. I love Gaffic. Like, we've talked about how we, like, disagree on a lot of Homestuck stuff, but, like, we're not, like, opposed. It's just like we just come to different conclusions and it's all chill. Gaffic's cool.
I think that take makes a lot of sense though, because it's like it's that's the whole gag with Spurb, right? Is that it's like it presents itself as this like huge heroic narrative, and then you've got the salamanders guiding you on your quest.
Because, like,
right?
here's the thing that we forget a lot of the time. Spurb, as we see it in the two timelines, is in a beta state and then later in an alpha state. We never see it as a complete finished product.
It's like a deeply fakened bad game.
Yeah.
Everything it presents is a facade, and all of the characters call it out as one constantly.
Because because Solix basically makes their version based off of like
Yeah, he compiled it together from something that he found.
that Aradia found.
Yeah.
Solix basically just translated the code off of, like, glyphs in the ruins.
Yeah,
Mina's
yeah.
found
Forwarded it.
Mina found it on the moon. Is Mina's version the most pure version?
I had completely forgotten that. What?
Mina found it on the moon.
Mina did find it on the moon.
Why did Mina go to the moon? Okay, never
Mina's
mind.
been hanging out on the moon because she doesn't want to be Empress. That's
Yeah.
her whole shtick.
Okay. I feel like I either never got that or just don't remember it. But maybe?
Are they insinuating that the alpha or the beta is the more complete one?
The beta.
Beta.
Okay.
Beta.
Good.
Yeah, no. In the alpha timeline, Jane's like, oh yeah, the alpha release is like super exclusive, whereas like John has nothing about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was telling Gaffic.
I feel like I don't remember if this is stated, but I definitely feel like the Spur beta got sent to everybody who subscribes to GameBro.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah, I believe that.
Just
yeah, headcanon accepted.
yeah.
While we're on this sort of topic, what about bloodcasts? Whether it is your astrological sign or not. Let's go backwards. I'm starting with you, Moosie.
I'm an Aries.
So you're Aradia, so you're the lowest rung, except for the mutant blood that is Karkat.
Cool.
Yeah, Aries, Burgundy. Burgundy is the
Yeah.
right name. I always think of Rust blood. I'm like,
Same.
that's the kind of like slur.
That's a slur.
That's
You
the
can't
slur.
say that. You're gonna get canceled.
You're
We're
not
live.
On Alternia will I get canceled? On Beforus I would.
You're not kill on sight,
Cancri.
but people can kill you on sight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're the lowest rung. Is that do you have vibes about any of the other? It's really kind of hard because we only have like 2 examples of each.
Yeah, I'm not really cognizant on which trolls
Yeah.
are
And-
which blood color.
And one of the examples is like a hyper exaggerated characterization.
Of Tumblr.
I do think that this is something that like is different for us versus Moosie.
Yeah.
Because like I think Hiveswap and Hiveswap FriendSim really adjusted people's view of like blood casts as like a valuable thing to have an opinion on which one you like are,
Yeah.
right? Like if you make a Troll Sona before Hiveswap exists, you just kind of go with where you want your Troll Sona to be based on like social cast vibes as opposed to like
Yeah.
what is involved
Every-
with being a member of that cast. right?
Everybody's troll sona before Hiveswap and FriendSim was either absolute lowest, absolute highest, or Vriska.
Yeah.
Well, so, but I will say that, like, it is sort of implied that certain casts have certain powers in Homestuck
That's
proper,
true.
right?
Yeah.
Not
Kinda,
as
yeah.
strongly as it ends up being in Hiveswap FriendSim, because that's one of the issues that someone pointed out, and I kind of have with FriendSim, is we get a whole new cast of trolls, right? And they kind of, like, peg some casts into the same roles that is like, no, I think, like, this isn't a spoiler, but it's like, Terezi's obsessed with, like, law and justice and stuff. And so all Teal Bloods are lawyers in training in FriendSim. And it's like, that's kind of a lot, though.
Yeah.
But it's also it's like, do you want to be an exhausted college student? You're Teal.
You also have to bear in mind it's not just lawyers, it's lawyer cops, right?
Yeah, it's
Right,
lawyer
yeah.
cops.
Which makes a little more sense to have an entire blood cast be.
Right, but it's still it still just like pegs them into one thing like way more. Like for the Gold Bloods, technically we have 3 versions of it because I forgot about the ancestors. Everyone forgets about the ancestors. Like it makes more sense that they have a particular niche, the Gold Bloods, because they have the psionic powers, and so they are like batteries for ships. They are living batteries. So it kind of makes sense that they might have more of a job niche. But for a lot of them, they kind of did just go off of stereotypes that we get just from the original 12 Trolls and maybe kind of from the other ones. But
Yeah.
Some of the stereotypes make sense, some of them don't. Some
Yeah.
of the niches that are carved out are like explicitly counter to the ways that blood casts are described in the comic.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Gamzee in his introduction gets described as like, oh yeah, you're a member of this like niche weird cult that everybody thinks is like very strange.
Yeah.
And then that like clown religion just becomes the purple blood thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But then, like, the only one that 110% makes sense based off of canon is Jade Bloods, because that is their thing in canon, is they take care of the brooding caverns.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. But, yeah, so we're just saying this, like, you are not necessarily as prepared to answer the question as the rest of us, so it's kind of mean to start with you. But I did anyway. But you're an Aries. I mean, yeah,
Because you're mean.
because I'm mean. It's true. Okay, well, Justin.
I have honestly never thought about bloodcast typing myself.
Okay, well, drop your sign.
Uh,
Drop your month and date.
I know that this is one I don't want to be
Too
because
bad.
I'm a Scorpio.
Well, you're Vriska now. Or Ardata.
Or Ardata.
Or Ramel. Steel art. You're really into AI art now. Ramel would be so into AI art. We're not making Justin happy. Jax's bean continues to be true.
I'm not used to being in a room with people I'm
Malik.
podcasting with.
Malik. Be Malik.
There is actually one troll in Friendsim that I did really identify with, and I kind of hated that everybody hated him. I do not remember his name.
What was the shtick?
The shtick was literally like all he wanted to do was talk to M-Spar and like learn the differences between troll and human culture. Like that was his whole thing. Is all he wanted to
Gallic?
do. Yeah, was
Oh, I
talk.
love Gallic.
Was talk and know things, and I'm like
Who doesn't like Gallic?
the narrative didn't like Gallic.
Oh, fair enough.
True. Yeah.
The entire narrative was like, oh my god, you fucking hate this guy. You need to get away right now.
Gallic
He
is
wants
so
to
good.
talk at you?
I wish I could talk with citations.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see you as like a particularly online sort of indigo blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I get typecast as cerulean a lot.
Well, I wonder why that is.
Yeah, no, and it's entirely because of Ardata. But as you can see on the screen right now, my troll Sona is a bronze blood.
Everyone like turns and looks
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah,
screen.
yeah, yeah.
Everyone turns away from the microphone. Stop it.
Well, I wasn't talking, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm a Taurus in real life TM, and I don't dislike the way that bronze bloods are shown to be in the comic.
You're not really in tune with animals.
I'm not really in tune with animals,
Did
but
not like
most
cats.
aren't.
Call out for Domi. Not a fan of cats.
Okay, but
or
I-
dogs.
Not a fan of Cats 2019.
Yeah. But like not all bronze bloods are like animal people, right? Like you've got the plain guy.
You got the plain guy.
And
Are you a
then-
plain guy?
I'm not a plain guy.
Well, they're fake anyway, apparently. So.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to remember what are the other bronze bloods. Like there's Chixie. Chixie's not an animal person.
Chixie's
Tavros is the only animal person.
No, there's the rancher.
Oh, true. There's the rancher.
Yeah.
I will say I spend each morning feeding chipmunks and squirrels and birds outside my yard, in my yard.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
well,
deeply bronze
That's
blood.
deeply
behavior.
bronze blood.
Welcome to the club. But yeah, no. My character, the Troll Sona, I have lore for it that I'm not going to go deeply into. But the basic shtick here is like I liked the like bright sunlit desert aesthetics that Skilla gets in Friendsim 2. So my character is like a desert wanderer diviner type thing.
Gotta be a diviner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of slots into the blood cast of like, yeah, don't have a home. Gotta go wander in the desert now.
Went through a desert. Piece with no name. God, Okay, you have to understand how excited I was as we went through the astrological signs in Homestuck, and I was reading through, and suddenly I saw the Capricorn symbol pop up, and it was purple. I love purple. Purple has been my favorite color for a long time. So I'm like, oh, I'm a Capricorn. Yeah, and that's just a purple sign. I'm so excited to see who is this purple. I'm not a juggalo.
Despite my best attempts.
Despite Domi's best attempts. Some of the songs are fine. I like Fago. But, I mean, it's soda. It's soda. It's what Aridin says. It's just soda.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just... No, I'm not. So I tend to go with Gold Blood for myself personally, but I'm not like... It's just because I identify with Tizius so much, but that is so tropey, and everyone fucking identifies with Tizius, that I'm like, I can't be another Teal Blood.
Yeah.
This is too much.
Tizius is the most identifiable.
Yeah, everyone kins Tizius. She is the most tired college student of them all in Friend
Right.
Sim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, everyone, she's exhausted, and she's dealing with it all, and it's just like, okay, this is happening now. And so, you'll get it. And I actually voice acted Tizius in a project that died and was revived and died again and died forever.
I'm the only one who ever had my voice released for that project, and
Yeah.
you can't find the video now.
Well, it's a Homestuck project. You only get to revive twice, and then that's it.
Yeah,
It's true. Yeah.
that's true.
It did go God tier, but then it died again.
Yeah.
It went God tier the day my voice hit it.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Domi, you're so powerful.
Yeah. Because Domi voiced Ardata, so that was the first volume to come out, and we very much never got to Tizius. Tizius is several volumes in. Not towards the end, but definitely not the first couple.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it feels too on the nose to identify as Teal, and I don't really know if I identify with Teal outside of Tizius, which is just the everyman's troll. So I switched over to Gold Blood is probably more my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who has social influencers?
So much of Hive Swap is out of my brain because I only played it once as they came out.
Yeah, I mean, same.
I completely forgot that there was just a chitter influencer.
Yeah, cheater influencer who disables themselves so they cannot be used as a battery in the future.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hive Swap is
And also the most annoying troll you have ever met, and everyone has met a person like that troll.
Yep.
That troll is where I learned the term vaporware.
Hive Swap Friend Sim is a deeply great game with deeply good writing that I kind of despise the way that it world builds Alternia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to put that aside because again, it's a great game and I recommend it heavily. I've used it to get people into Homestuck before successfully.
Hive Swap made me care about a horrible little hot dog man.
Yeah.
I love a horrible little hot dog man.
But sorry.
Oh,
You're gonna bring up a picture of the hot dog man?
no, I fumbled the controller and went to somewhere else.
But my favorite Hive Swap headcanon is that, because there's, a huge time skip between it and Homestuck, that accounts for a lot of the differences in Alternian world building that we get for what little Alternian world building there is in Homestuck, right? And so, whenever I want to have different ideas about Alternia, I'll just be this is closer to when Homestuck happens, as opposed to, being when Friend Sim is happening.
Yeah, I will also say technically all of Friend Sim is non-canonical. It's just there for vibes for when we go through Hive Swap, and I know that's just supposed to be about the characters or just vibes, but I'm just going to pretend it's all non-canonical, and we'll just see what happens in Hive Swap.
Fair.
Yeah.
Um,
Everything is canon. Canon is dead. Long live canon.
That is the Homestuck.
Motto
Yeah.
Yeah.
that we all hate.
Remind me how long we're going to be streaming for.
I said about 2 hours.
Okay. In that case, we're a little over halfway done. I'm going to make a second tea.
Okay.
Tea.
I have a, I wasn't sure that we'd have enough questions and shit to fill the time. I forgot we all had ADHD.
Yeah, we talk so much. We didn't even need questions for this.
I saw your docket, and I'm like, this is gonna last 8 hours.
Yeah, I over prepared. I made us leave way earlier than necessary to get here. I got us on call last night so we could get a lot of shit prepared. I prepared a lot more questions than I think I was operating it as though I were the only one talking and I needed more shit. But no, it's with all of us. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, big more tea, Domi. Domi's already in the kitchen. I almost added where she belongs, and I did it anyway because it was just it was right there.
What the fuck? Why are you so mean today?
I don't know, because we're all here together.
God.
And it brings out my pulling on your pigtails to tell you I like you side.
Making tea is where I belong, though. It's deeply fun. So I've got the two that I really want to get to are Pistol Pony Rodeo, because that's the one that got us here in the first place.
Yeah.
And the Hussy Apology Tea, because that's a deeply funny one. Thoughts? Vibes-based thoughts?
Let's do Pistol Pony Rodeo just because it is the one that got us where we are today.
Awesome.
In T-Land, at least. Oh, gosh. What if people started figuring out their... I'm going to actually wait for Domi to be back for this one because it's much more of a question that...
Uh-huh.
So, because it's an astrology thing. How into astrology? How much do you know about astrology off the top of your head?
Not super a lot, but why?
Well, so because it's not just your rising sign. There's your moon sign. There's 5 billion different signs.
Yeah, I couldn't list all of those for you.
No, for sure. But is there and you probably don't know this. But it's I think astrology people need to figure out the sign that is actually the best way to figure out your blood caste, because I don't think it's your rising sign.
I think you're right. I couldn't tell you what the probably actual best one is, but I would love to have a conversation. What I want to do is have a deeply invested Homestuck sit down with a deeply crazy astrology person and hash this out.
Can very easily be the same person.
Yes, but I want them to not be.
Oh, fair enough.
You know?
Yeah.
You want an astrology person who's never read Homestuck, or has maybe only just now read it for the first time?
Maybe the second one.
Okay. Or has never read Homestuck but has absorbed a lot of secondhand content.
That one. Yeah, definitely that one.
Just show them 50 Homestuck memes and then go, okay, I'm going to talk to you about this now.
I want the astrology person to be able to participate in the Homestuck elements of the conversation, but I want them to be as on the border of being a Homestuck
Just sit them down,
possible.
have them read pages and pages and pages of class spec theory. No other reference to Homestuck.
You see, it's very funny, but that is actually, unironically, something I've made non-Homestucks do.
Yeah.
And I'm ashamed of those days of my life.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. No, I was being a cringe high schooler. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Cringe high school days are always, cringe. And,
Okay, I'm going away to make tea now.
Go away to make tea. Domi doesn't exist. So I'll have a Moosie specific question.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my god, I have this literally in text in front of me and I can't fucking read it. What has been your experience diving into Homestuck so far?
I don't usually stick with reading things long term, so it's the first time I've really been doing a thing for more than a year. I don't even make games for more than a year. And the last game I made over a year was a bunch of mini games, so they were all unrelated games inside of a pack.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting. I know I probably felt the most frustrated with just huge walls of pester chum logs and stuff and talking.
Talking.
Like,
Yes.
it needs to be split up a little bit more, but I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with the story. I'm just kind of waiting to see how it ends to figure out how I feel about it.
That's fair. Some people are not a huge fan of the ending.
Mm.
But, I mean, you can probably guess that. Some people are not a huge fan of literally any part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they're still part of the fandom.
Yeah. I honestly, like, I don't know. I think, because I read Homestuck, it's only been in the past, like, I want to say, like, 5 or less years that I've really started critically analyzing things. And I don't want to make it seem like I never, like, analyzed things before, but I kind of took a lot more things at face value, and I just read what was on the page, and, you know, that was it. I didn't really dive too deep into it unless it was, like, I don't know, like, I would pick up on themes and stuff, because I see some people who read it and like, what do you mean you didn't understand that this was obviously the point of it? I just didn't sit down to try to figure those things out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just kind of read the pages and I'm like, I guess this is happening.
Yeah.
Can I put you on blast, Jax?
Yes.
I remember a day and age back when me and Jax lived together where we would be having discussions about, like, the various timelines in Homestuck and stuff. Like, I think it was the rabbit in particular. I would be going in to talk about, like, the timeline of the rabbit, and Jax would just be like, no, don't tell me. I don't want to know about this. If I need to know about a thing in Homestuck, it'll be explicitly explained to me. And I distinctly remember the thing that actually changed this for you was doing the read-through with Moosie, where I sat you down and I was like, Jax, you need to know what's going on to explain it to Moosie.
Yeah. I mean, I started getting into analysis before then. I mean, obviously, the Gaystick analysis wasn't really analysis. It was just text on page. But, I mean, it's still, like, some stuff is... yeah, I mean, I still don't think the rabbit stuff does necessarily matter, but I think it is still something that needs to be understood and explained. If we're gonna actually talk about it and not just sit and read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there is some stuff that people have tried to explain to me, and I was just very stubborn, saying the opposite thing, because the angrier they got up at me for not understanding it and understanding it the opposite way, the more fun it was, because I told them not to talk to me about it. With one of our ex-roommates, you might not remember that conversation. It was something about how the alpha and beta kids were related and how the ectobiology worked.
Yeah.
And I could have understood it then. I just, like, skipped over some of the stuff that really made it clear, because it was in, I don't know, it was in a part that felt more like summary, and I skimmed over it.
Yeah.
It was actually more clearly explaining it than it had ever been explained.
Because it's not actually that complicated.
It's not that complicated. It's just, like, in a wall of text of other stuff. Oh, well, I already know this. This was made obvious. This was made obvious. And I just started skimming. And then it's like, okay, well, that's never made obvious again.
Yeah.
But anyway, it got to a point where I'm like, okay, well, like, I don't super care about this that much. I'm not going to understand it any more than I have. And then someone kept trying to explain it to me. And so I became a troll. Is what happened. Yeah,
it worked on me.
Yeah, it wasn't just you, but you were collateral damage in that particular conversation, where it's like, okay, well, that's actually not how it worked. But yeah, I'm obviously understanding stuff more. But I guess my point is, I forget what I started making this point for. It's just like I have been analyzing things more. Like before, I didn't like ship things. What up? You're making faces.
Nothing. I'm again admiring our little house. I think I just started kind of doing it because one of my core autistic traits is mimicry.
Oh,
I think I just started.
I don't mean to put you on blast. We're just like right across
Right, I know.
Literally in a circle.
Yeah.
Though in a different order from the GIFs.
Oh, we should have been in the same
We should have been in the same order. Hold on, I can fix this.
Are you gonna move them
No,
around?
no, I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah, especially with the PS3 controller.
It's a DualSense 4.
Okay.
Come on.
Um,
Or DualShock, I don't know, whatever.
but But yeah, like I never really shipped things. I just kind of shipped whatever was being obviously signaled on screen, which is why Katara getting with Aang instead of Zuko was extremely surprising to me.
It was surprising to me too.
Yeah, it's like I had
Yeah.
never shipped before. I thought I was just reading the room.
I was thinking that, so I know you're not supposed to like real life ship people, and I didn't realize this was what I was doing, but there's a gardener on YouTube, and I
yeah.
thought his obviously gay assistant, I thought they
yeah.
were living together and like a thing, and then he mentions a girlfriend, the main guy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
damn it, I wanted you to be gay farmers.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily you will just ship people whether you want to or not. Like, not obviously every single person. I think it's just what you do with that and how you make it anyone else's problem. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna post, you should be with him!
Yeah,
Right.
we're not gonna
Don't-
Dan and fill it.
Don't ship real
Fill
people.
it, Dan?
Yeah. Well, I thought that's what I thought was happening, but
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah, like I internally might think it's like, oh, like I internally have a lot of ideas about like that would be considered RPF, but it's like it's fine, it's in my head. I'm not gonna like message them saying it's like, well, you have to change your gender now because I decided. Aaron Hansen.
What? Who's Aaron Hansen? Is someone trying to make you a raptor trans?
I feel like there's a lot of people.
There's a
trying,
lot of people.
including Aaron himself on
Yeah.
occasion.
Yeah, just Jesus Christ. Again, I'm not actually invested in this. I think it would just be very funny if on his deathbed he's like, I've been a girl this whole time. But anyway, but yeah, I just never really got into critical analysis, and I had like a point that I was getting to with that conversation, and I forgot it.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's the ADHD.
It's the ADHD.
It's no one's fault.
It's everyone's
Why
fault.
is it this tea or is it my stove fucking up that smells like burnt popcorn right now?
I think it's your stove.
Yeah,
My apologies.
That's fine.
you didn't do that to a stove,
I guess that's fair. I did use the stove though.
right? Fair enough. Sorry, I'm still trying to think of where I was going with the critical analysis stuff. I don't know.
That's fine. You walked through a door. You forgot everything.
Yeah, I was standing up walking through doors. That's true. It was something about Moosie talking about your experience with Homestuck and just accepting things on the page.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to get it back. It's fine. Domi and Justin, have you played any Homestuck tabletop role-playing games? I'm asking as though I don't know the answer.
No. I haven't. Sorry to be uninteresting.
Nah, you're good. So I have some more interesting answers, which is sorry.
which is also no, but better.
Actually, yes. So I haven't played any that you can go find online and play, but I have tried to make my own and did a lot of playtesting of it when I did do that.
I sort of the same thing. I started to make a PBTA, a Powered by the Apocalypse version of Homestuck, and I kind of stopped making it, so I never got to playtesting.
Yeah.
Trying to make 24 bifurcated classes is a lot.
I've read a few that are available. I know the big one back in 2019 was Homestuck, which I don't know what they're currently up to or if they're still updating their game. I know that one was interesting because it assumed that you're going to be playing the game in a Discord server as opposed to like doing it like live together at a table, right? Kind of contrary to the name. And I think that was interesting. I think I wasn't at a point in my life where I was ready for a weird game like that, but I'd be interested to go back and look at it now. And then the other one I want to shout out is one that we've been looking at lately, which is Subgrubs and Snazzards, which is not set up for like Spurb play like you might be wanting, but if you like Alternia in particular as a setting, it expands on Alternia and sets you up to play trolls or, you know, the random human who just kind of showed up.
Yeah.
Doing adventures on Alternia in the Hive Swap fashion. it does that really well, though it is also quirky and weird, and you should give it a read before you commit to it.
I have a very hard time understanding TTRPGs when I'm reading them. I need someone else to read them, and then I can play them.
Yeah, fair.
You want me to read it to you? Like,
No, like a bedtime story?
yeah.
I will fall asleep. No.
Yeah.
As for my own personal one that I had worked on, I could still probably run a game of it today if I really wanted to. It was really bare bones, and it was kind of set up to be very, like, frilly, we'll figure it out as we go, on purpose so that we could still kind of capture the weird improvisational feel of Homestuck. It was kind of structured such that, like, you had some basic stats that gave you a basic, D&D kind of roll to hit AC kind of structure. And then it also had, instead of skills, you had connections to each of the various aspects. And it would be up to the DM and the players to kind of negotiate out how each aspect corresponded to your approach to solving an issue, right? And then you would roll with your aspect. And then, like, the way that you built those skills up was by the GM basically just saying, okay, you're acting in line with light. Take a point in light, right?
You kind of used that system when we were playing Monster of the Week that was based on the Magnus Archives universe.
Yep, it was based on that. The difference is that, like, in the Homestuck version, the numbers were intended to get really huge and dumb on purpose.
Yeah.
So, like, I handed aspect connections out like candy, whereas in Monster of the Week, it was, like, for pivotal plot moments, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monster of the Week doesn't deal with big numbers. 3 is an insanely large number in Monster of the Week.
Yeah. And then, once you said you might try to make one based off my Durkat Medieval AU because I have so much world building for it.
I would still be interested in working together with you on that if that was a project you wanted to hop on.
Everything is a project I want to hop on.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Just if you ever want to start
If
writing,
I ever bump it up in my priority list.
yeah, if you ever start writing a world building document, get a hold of me and I'll turn your world building document into a tabletop game.
I have started writing that. I go between writing it and going on World Anvil and trying to fill that out.
I've been working on an original world where you play as cephalopods
Oh, that's
Oh,
so
that's
fun.
cool.
under the ocean.
She'll turn it into an RPG.
Commission Domi to make your shit into an RPG.
It's
That would
true.
be hundreds.
Actually, hit me up if you want to commission me to build an RPG rule set over your world building.
What would
document.
that cost? That sounds insane, though.
We'd have to talk
Be
it
like
out.
an hourly thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Well, because
yeah,
it would definitely, I'm assuming it would depend on, like, what kind of game you want.
exactly.
Because,
Yeah.
like, there's going to be definitely different price points than if you want something like Honey Heist, or
Oh,
if you
yeah.
want, like, a Forged in the Dark game, versus if you want D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Levels of complexity aside, like, hit me up and we'll talk out a price point, because that does sound like a really fun project.
Where can
Yeah.
people hit you up?
Oh yeah, let me get exactly what my Discord tag is.
Well, it doesn't have
'cause-
numbers anymore, right?
Does it not?
No,
Yeah,
No,
they
they got rid of
changed
that.
to Just username thingies.
That's
Yeah.
right. Am
I think
just-
you can still look people up by their old numbers.
Gotcha. Yeah,
But-
then I'm just Domino Thief. Find me on Discord if you really want to commission me for a tabletop project.
Yeah.
I do have an itch.io page, but there's only one Game Jam game up there right now. But
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I mean, I can't offer any, like, that much work to be able to say, like, yeah, I've got cred here. But
Yeah.
you know, I've played with 2 out of the 3 other people here. I've ran games with custom content for both of you, I think.
Yeah.
You can attest that you had fun.
Yeah.
I will attest under threat of perjury that I had fun.
I'm a good game designer, I
Yay.
promise.
Yeah, like I said, Domi had to do some extra stuff for the Monster of the Week. The Magnus Archives-based campaign we did. It was my first TTRPG ever, and it was a campaign that actually ended. It was a full thing. It had 3 acts, 3 whole. It was so good, and the additional content for that, it's very fun. I'm making a game based off of it.
I should really go back and finish that Magnus Archives add-on to publish on itch.io.
Yeah, do that. It'll be helpful for me personally for my interactive fiction game I'm making based on that campaign. I have not played any. We might play one on the podcast, do an actual play because that's a popular thing to do.
In fact, it begins right now. The last 30 minutes of this stream are going to be us playing.
4 hours.
Yeah, it's session 0. Make characters, folks. I could pull up subgrubs and snazzards.
Yeah.
I think I have the PDF actually readily available.
Nice. Because Tommy and I were in a... it wasn't a TTRPG, but it was one of those role-playing things where it's like there was kind of a DM.
Oh yeah. I remember what you're talking
play-by-post type stuff, or
it was really like an RP server that was structured like a play-by-post tabletop.
Yeah.
Okay,
just
all right.
without any stats or rolls or anything.
Yeah.
Well, there were a few rolls sometimes, I guess.
I think so. I can't super remember, but there was one person who had more of an overarching plot and was the one who primarily did the NPCs.
Yeah.
I do have, so I don't know if you've heard of the board game or tabletop game Dialect. It's,
No.
You build a language and it's like a 1-session thing, but it's like 3-ish hours.
Oh.
I also kickstarted a long time ago their next game, which was Xeno Language, which is about first contact with aliens, and I don't have anyone to play it with right now.
I would be very interested in that kind of thing.
well, you are now in the house of somebody who has a whole room dedicated to board games.
Yeah.
So you know a guy.
Yeah, no, if these are the people for those
Yeah.
kinds of weird tabletops.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is fun. With the Dialect game, the idea is you're like in like a subculture of something. So like the first time we played, it was a boys' boarding school, and it was the kids' vocabulary of like Cheetos are the currency, and we'd made up words for like we have to avoid the teachers' whippings and like the whole war between the students and teachers and the language thereof.
That's cool.
Oh boy, let's just make up new gen alpha slang before they can.
Yeah, literally.
That's so funny.
I want to just do that now.
Yeah.
I can run Dialect online. I made a web app for it, but also it's on Roll20, and I can just run it anytime.
Okay, all right.
Nice.
I just don't think there's a Xenolanguage one because it's like relatively new.
There's another game that I read recently that it kind of vaguely reminds me of, sort of, where, and Justin, I can't believe I wasn't DMing you about this game as I read it, like I was Jax.
Yeah?
Feels
Oh,
like
yeah.
such a mistake.
Because I did a Kickstarter. I backed the Kickstarter. Is that the one?
It was made by the same person.
Oh, okay.
It's called Wisher Thurgist Fatalist.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very deeply strange game.
Wait, hold on.
Where
Somebody talked to me about this. Was it not you?
it might have been me.
Okay.
The whole point is that you've got the responsibilities of DMing sort of split up amongst the group, and everybody's goal is to not be the DM. If someone is the DM of the game, you are currently losing.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. And the whole point of the game is, like, it says, it kind of lays out some structure for the game and everything, and it, like, there are points of the game where it says, and once you reach this point, the players lose, no matter what. There is nothing you can do to avoid this. And the whole gimmick is that, like, you, with all of the responsibilities of DMing split up among you, can change the rules at any point.
Oh.
Because...
Sorry, we got a chat. I didn't notice.
Oh.
Because I'm turned around.
No, it's very new. It's like a minute old.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I'm one of the people not facing. Hello. I hope you are. Oh God, I can't fucking read. I'm enjoying your day. We are. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you
it's
very
been a
much.
lot of fun.
Hello. Yeah,
Hi.
we're chilling. This is the first time Moosie has met up with everyone else. I've met up with everyone else. Everyone else has met up with everyone else except for Moosie. So,
I'm always the odd man out.
yeah, it is so funny because we just, like, me and Moosie did, like, find each other like locally, so it makes sense that we knew each other. But like, Domi and Justin and I, we all just met on the internet and happened to live near each other.
Yeah. Well, you didn't live near me when we first met.
Right. It's so funny.
I at one point, because there was some like really bad storms up where you used to live.
Yeah.
And I messaged you saying, "Hey, like, are you okay? I know that it's really bad over there right now." And you just went, "No, I'm in Kansas."
Yeah. So the thing is I used to live in this area, and then like just a few months before I got super into the Homestuck fandom, I moved up north to Minnesota, and then I started meeting like 4 people who lived in or near Kansas in the Homestuck fandom. So I just like moved out of the Homestuck area somehow. Kansas is a hopping place.
That's a sentence that's never been said before. Kansas is a hopping place.
And then I had to move out because my rent was going up and it was too much, and I had other plans, and then those fell through, and so I kind of last minute moved in with Domi, and so I don't currently live with Domi, but I still live in the same general area, so it just happens to work out that we just all live near each other.
And like, Domi, I had been sort of aware of you for quite some time before I learned that you lived like right next door, effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I forget, I know I'd been aware of you at some point before we actually started talking, too. But I forget how. I think you may have just been a guest that Jax had on sometimes, and that was the extent of it.
Justin guested on Fake Gamer Bro, the podcast that will come back, if that's a threat.
There is an episode that has been recorded and is not released.
Yeah, I was planning on editing it during my week off, and then I just, my body decided, no, you are resting and sleeping now.
Yeah. I hope it does come back, and I hope that you all support Fake Gamer Bro a lot, because, like, I won't be able to edit it when it does come back, because Jax can't pay me to edit 2 shows right now, and I love editing Fake Gamer Bro. It's so fun.
That is funny. What is the difference between editing Live, Laugh, Stuck and Fake Gamer Bro?
I don't know. I can't tell you what the difference is. I think with Fake Gamer Bro, and maybe this is just like some time passage and stuff, right? But I feel like with Fake Gamer Bro, I'm more able to like do my funny little things more often, right? Like, it doesn't feel like there's as much opportunity for me to pop in and do funny editing stuff in Live, Laugh, Stuck as there is in Fake Gamer Bro.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Domi also wrote the theme song for that, which wasn't for it. It just existed. And I said, hey, I like this. Can I make it my theme song? And Domi was like, yeah, sure. Puzzling.
Yeah.
Is what that's called.
It's one of my favorites that I've written.
Yeah. But, Domi, she writes music.
Sometimes. I'm getting back into it. I have been taking some private composing lessons with a friend of ours, Anna, Articulately Composed.
We're lovely people.
We are lovely
people. I believe you. No.
We are lovely. Thank you for noticing.
And we are all, like, quite good friends, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is our first time, like, really speaking a lot, Moosie, but, I mean, you're fun. I like listening to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Domi's much more aware of you than you are of her. But
you have good opinions.
Okay. Yeah, because Domi and I have been friends since we were... we met on the Friends and Fanta, but we didn't really talk until we got on another project together, right?
Yeah.
But it was still like in 2019. It was still around that time.
We have a question.
Oh, what's the question?
What's everyone's favorite beta kid?
What is everyone's favorite beta kid? Yes.
My favorite beta kid is Rose. I'm so glad I did not have Homestuck in high school, because you do not know how obnoxious I would have been about Rose.
Yeah.
I was a Rose Kinney before Rose existed. It was bad.
My favorite beta kid is I go back and forth on this sometimes. I probably would have said Rose before because like I am a big Lalonde person.
Yeah.
But I think Roxy is the primary reason for that, and like I think Jade's good. I mean, like we've had kind of a Jade renaissance in the current Homestuck fandom, where like people have all kind of acknowledged that she's a lot of fun and mistreated by the narrative, but like that wasn't an opinion people had back in the day.
You just looked at the alpha and beta kids and said, which kid is the least talked about? And you said, that one's my favorite.
Yeah. It's true.
I relate with Dave way more than I should.
Justin is a hussy, Kenny. He is glaring at me.
What?
Because, like, early Dave is based on Hussy's conversations.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Dave is the closest thing to Hussy's chat voice that exists in Homestuck.
You know what? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but I stand by my point.
Yeah, yeah.
I like John because he's dopey.
Yeah, John's great.
I like that where we're at in Act 6, he's a little more mature and like, hey, wait, killing dead things is wrong.
Yeah, that's a Homestuck quote. I like that we are just all, we all chose one. Like, we all chose a beta kid.
Well, there's 4 of us and 4 kids.
Yeah,
so
it just worked out. Like, we didn't do that on purpose.
Killy says, mine is John since I relate to him, even though it's been a couple of years. It's still the same.
Yeah, John's great. I love John.
I know a lot of people who, like, relate to John. And, like, I think they're all very valid. John's a great, goofy kid.
Oh, yeah. I really do enjoy John as a character.
Yeah.
Like,
he's grown on me. And in fact, if I were the sort of person who was like, which is the kid that gets talked about the least, I would be a big John fan.
Yeah.
It's both... Why is that family? John and Jane both. Nobody talks about
No one cares about the prospects. Like, that's just how it is. It's like, people do not care about the prospects. It's us Strylon fans.
Yeah. John and Jane especially, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jade. I mean, like,
Jade
I know
and
Jade is currently
Yeah.
having a thing, but I think, like, people cared more about John than Jade back in the day.
That's probably true. I think that was for gay reasons, though. I think that was to use John as a prop for, like,
John
gay
is very
ships.
good at shipping with literally everyone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there is a John ship. I like a lot of ships, though. Like, I used to hate a lot of ships, and then I would read fan fiction of a ship I never thought about, and I liked it.
I want to be clear. I'm not shit-talking yaoi shippers here. I think they're all super valid.
This just
we have a problem.
Homophobic. Garrett, someone else.
My favorite Guardian is Mr. Egbert, and I don't like Mr. Crocker at all for personal reasons. That's fair. I'm curious. I don't want to dig super hard into your personal reasons, but I am curious what the difference there is.
Well, I mean, like, we do... people joke about them being the same character, but, like, because John and Jane are in different situations, they do act differently. Like,
I guess that's fair.
Both John and Jane do get Homestuck, like, at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very thing, but Jane has a lot more going on with, like... Mr. Crocker has to be a lot more protective of her because there are literally assassins going after her.
That's a good point.
While you know, with Mr. Egbert, it's just like fun and cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know if that's actually like your opinion, but that was my. I don't know. I do get kind of annoyed when people say that they're the exact same character.
They're
just because
not
they have the same
like
sprite.
They're the same character who experienced different circumstances and therefore became different people.
But like the thing is like they're the only like genetic children. They are the only genetically actually different characters. Like they are the only people related to someone not seen on screen.
That's
you know what?
whole
You're right.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
Right. Like, you know, I know that they're like seem very similar, and maybe that's like part of the thing of Homestuck twisting things on its head, because they are more different than anyone else in Homestuck.
Moosie, can I have your mug?
Oh yeah, it needs to be.
Do you want the rest of the tea?
No,
Okay.
it can be emptied out. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I don't know if I
What-
have a favorite guardian.
What was your opinions of that tea?
We didn't try the new one.
Oh, you
yet.
haven't
That was
tried the new
old
one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what are your opinions of it before you've tried it?
Good. Yeah, Mr. Crocker never died.
No, Mr. Crocker is very much alive.
Yeah, yeah, Mr. Crocker is the only surviving guardian, right?
I think you're right.
Yeah. Jane is the only one who gets a dad. Which, oh my god, sorry, there's the Crow Strider AU, which I'm not going to spoil because this doesn't happen for a while, but there is some meta that happens in there about Mr. Crocker being alive.
Oh.
Yeah. I never finished that. I got like towards the end, and I think there was like a break before the actual end happened, and I think there's like an epilogues or something. I'm not super keeping up with it, but I need to get back and finish it. But there is some Mr. Crocker lore in there.
Nope. It's haunted.
How did that poltergeist?
Heat? You guys. Thank you.
Of course.
Set that over there.
Yeah. I do not know if it's ready to drink yet.
Probably not.
We have Homestuck teas.
We have Homestuck teas.
We do.
This one was
It's not here.
Yeah,
This is Pistol Pony Rodeo.
Pistol Pony Rodeo. But yeah, who's everyone's favorite guardian?
My favorite guardian is honestly Rose's mom. I like the whole dynamic Rose has with her mom.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that for a minute.
Can we count Beck as a guardian?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Beck, absolutely.
yeah, there we go. Beck.
Beck.
Or GCat.
GCat wasn't a guardian. GCat was just a. I mean, technically, GCat was the first guardian, but
Yeah,
Beck
GCat's the
actually-
first guardian.
But Beck actually took care of Jade,
Yeah.
while GCat was a nuisance,
Um,
like all dogs and cats.
Which is very dogs and cats, yeah.
Favorite Sprite? Mine is Nana Sprite and Dave Sprite.
Oh.
I personally, as far as sprites go, yeah, Beck is an honorary guardian.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, let me think about this. Someone else go first.
I have an answer for this one.
Yeah.
I like Arqueus because it's very stupid.
Arqueus is so good. There's because Moosie hasn't finished reading yet. There's one sprite that we have not gotten to. There are 2 sprites, right? That we have 3.
I don't know.
3 sprites we haven't gotten to. But I'm not sure any of those are my favorite anyway. Favorite guardian and sprite.
I mean, I don't know about.
Oh, you said
sprites.
Beck, yeah. Sprites. So we got Nano Sprite, Dave Sprite,
Jasper Sprite,
Jasper Sprite,
Jade Sprite.
Just crying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crying, screaming Jade Sprite.
We have is it Fafetta?
Fefita Sprite, and then Tabris
Aerosol,
Sprite.
yeah,
and then
Tabris.
Aerosol Sprite, and then
Arqueus.
Arqueus Sprite.
An Arqueus Sprite, yeah.
Probably Nana Sprite.
Yeah. Baked goods and pranks.
Oh, I can't ban from my OBS.
Oh no.
That's unfortunate.
Dang it.
Oh, I also can't close. Oh my god.
Do you want to do it on the computer?
Let me see what I can do. Sorry.
My
No,
favorite
go ahead.
guardian is probably Alpha Dave, but I also really like Alpha Rose. And my favorite sprite. Gosh,
Here, hold on. Dummy, let me take over.
Yeah. Okay.
my favorite sprite's probably Arqueus Sprite. Probably because we just got to the conversation that he has with Dirk. Whenever Dirk's trying to fly
No, that's not what I wanted either.
with all the glitchy stuff, and it's just, I just wanted the rest of Act 6 to be Dirk and Arqueus Sprite talking.
I've completely fucked up our chat window.
Oh no!
Hold on a second.
I can pull it up on Twitch or on my phone.
There we go.
Oh,
Okay.
you got it? Okay.
There it is. Okay.
Is that
Yes, block.
correct? Oh no, that's the one, right?
Yeah, ban. There we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Is that a spam?
Yeah. It was one of the like, don't hit that. It was one of the get views at our totally not fishing link.
Fun.
Anyway, okay, I think I've decided on Sprite. I think my favorite Sprite is Jasper Sprite.
Jasper Sprite is very good.
Jasper Sprite is also very good.
Yeah.
Um,
Just a little cat. I love
Yeah.
that, like, Nepeta and Jasper Sprite talked off screen.
Did you get your favorite Sprite?
Yeah, Arqueous Sprite.
Okay. In that case, then, can I ask if we do teas?
Let's do teas.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Pistol Pony Rodeo, the thing that got us off on this whole tea thing in the first place. In here is honey bush tea, gunpowder tea, which is like a green tea that's just rolled up into little balls, orange flavor, vanilla flavor, hibiscus, and rose hips, which are my favorite thing to have in tea.
Roses have hips.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently.
Oh, okay.
Buffalo has wings.
They're like
You know what? You're right.
they're like little berries. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You have a very confused expression.
It's not.
It's probably the rose hips. They're a little bit of a strange flavor at first.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm gonna say it doesn't taste like anything again, and I
Fair.
don't want it to seem like I have COVID. But also, I drink coffee with a lot of cream and sugar in it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's
that pizza
valid.
tasted like
Yeah.
pizza to me.
No, you're fine. That's also why I don't like tea, because I
It didn't make
drink
my tea really strong.
I drink a lot of things with more like powerful flavors. So something very mild like tea, I just
Yeah.
don't taste it.
Yeah,
and that's
I'm definitely not
my
picking
fault
up
for
on, like-
destroying my own taste buds.
I'm definitely not picking up on, like, everything
Yeah.
mentioned, but I can get some of the higher hints.
If it were up to me, I would have let all of this tea steep a little longer.
Yeah.
But we're also, on a
Like-
time frame.
I'll double
Yeah.
bag a tea whenever I'm just making a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Wait, at a Renaissance fair last month, God Dear John was seen, and one of the workers at the Renaissance fair sang
The Midnight Crew.
saying, "I'm a member of the
so
Midnight
good.
Crew."
That's
I love
so
that.
good.
I sing that at home all the time.
I do really love that song as well.
I
It's
used
so good.
to back
It's
when,
out of place at a Renaissance fair, but that's so good.
Yeah.
back when I worked at Walmart night shift. I would sometimes, while I was out in the parking lot, listen to that song.
Oh, yeah.
That was very good.
Oh, you were God Tier John. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool stuff. I mean, God Tier John can show up anywhere. We did get to the part where John has powers to just travel throughout reality.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, delightful.
So yeah. That's so cool. I keep wanting to go to a Ren fair. But
It's in like September, October around us.
around here,
Yeah.
I will try to keep that in mind, but I tend to forget. Like, I always mean to go berry picking, and now's the time I need to remember it, because now is berry picking season. But it's also hot, and it's hot outside. Because it's summer.
We can get a little berry plant in a container for your patio.
It's not the same. I used to I used to live in rural areas, and so you could just go down a dirt road and find like blackberry bushes on the side of the road, or you'd find a field that you would go through and go get some blackberries off the bushes and just have scrapes and ticks all over. There were a couple of times we went to an actual farm for berry picking, and my mom joked that we should have like weighed us before and after, because we weren't supposed to eat the berries we picked. But we were like 10 to 10
Children.
to 12. Yeah, and so of course we ate some. Berry picking.
Are there any other questions or things that you
yeah.
like topics you wanted us on?
I did have a whole list that I keep closing out because I'm very good at things. I mean,
We do have 1 minute until the 2-hour mark.
well, it wasn't like a strict. I mean, now that we have someone in here, I'm fine staying a little bit longer. If you
Right.
guys are.
Right.
That was just a general time frame because I didn't know how many
Yeah,
people would be here and how
absolutely.
long things would be. Okay, so no spoiler from Moosie Edition. What is your favorite part of Homestuck?
Ooh.
If it is just after what we've gone to, you can just say it's like, you will get to it soon.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I said this in the episode that I was on, but I think Cascade is the point
Yeah.
where I went, oh, this is it. This is what Homestuck is about, because that was like a spectacle. And then I won't get into it because you're not there yet, but Act 7 is a visual spectacle.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's beautiful.
I have an answer that I can't really get into, but I can say its name. It's not spectacularly spoilery.
Yeah.
And you're going to hate this answer so
Oh,
much.
no.
It's the masterpiece.
Oh, of
Oh,
course. Of course.
oh God. Okay.
Of course. Okay.
Okay,
Domi.
Sure.
I think that explains what I like about Homestuck.
That was a time where I just turned my brain off.
You have to. You're meant to.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I did not.
I know you did. That's why you like it. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I was fully engaged the whole way through.
Yeah. Moosie, do you have a favorite part? You don't have to have like the right name for it or anything, like these folks do.
The mayor building a town.
Yeah,
That was
mayor
also
building
very
in town
good.
was very cute. Cantown.
Or
Mayor,
the, you know.
Mayor in general is delightful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just the kids interacting with the mayor, really.
Yeah.
The mayor is great. The mayor is the best part of Homestuck. I mean, it's so hard. There are so many good parts. My Dirk brain wants to say, what is it called? Prince of Heart Rise Up.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's a great flash.
Yeah. But I'm like Dirk pilled. Actually, probably my favorite moment in Homestuck is the Rosemary kiss. When Rose and Kanaya kiss. It's just like that. Because, I read it, in that time. And it's so rare to see like queer content in stuff that wasn't explicitly about queer topics.
Right.
And like even in webcomics, unless it was like, this is a webcomic about like queerness. Which, like, yes, Homestuck has queer characters in it, but like it wasn't about that.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't advertised as a queer comic.
Yeah.
It kind of is now, but
It is now.
I still think that's inaccurate, but I get why.
Yeah.
But like that was like, because that was before gay marriage was legal, right?
Yeah.
So that was a foundational moment for me, and I still really like it.
I don't personally advertise Homestuck as a queer comic
Right.
when I'm trying to get people to read it.
No,
Yeah.
I think that's false advertising.
It's foundational queer media, but it's not a queer comic.
Yeah.
It is a Rube Goldberg machine for figuring out your sexuality and gender.
Yeah.
But it is not a queer comic. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have to say what's on the screen.
Yeah.
It's behind
Yeah.
you.
No, it's fine. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Because just we're set up where like just some of us have to not be facing the screen.
Yeah.
And because of where things are, like Justin has to face the screen to control what's on the screen. Domi is in a place where she has to go to the kitchen to do tea. So I've just
Yeah. We're in my house, and I definitely have a one-person setup. This is the most haphazard thing I've ever built for the four of us.
I feel like we hacked it together fairly well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I should say you did.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's Rosemary's very good. Like people very much do not like this opinion, but Rosemary is the foundational relationship of Homestuck. I know what other people say it is,
Yeah.
and I understand their reasoning, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
No, I mean, like, I liked Dirk Jake only because it was gay. Only because I saw myself in it.
Yeah,
And like nothing else mattered. I can analyze it now and see, oh, that's it was a horrible,
Yeah.
horrible thing.
yeah.
But at the time that didn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
I really like Dirk Jake as exes. I think their relationship is important for their growth.
yeah.
I want to say with regards to like Rosemary, right? Like I think something that gets kind of lost in the current discussion about like Homestuck shipping is that like because I was in the role playing area of the fandom back in the time.
The trenches.
I know I know what people shipped, right?
Yeah.
And like it Rosemary is the most, like, it was the lesbian ship at the time that people were obsessed with, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of less popular now because it's like, it's the ship that got there, right?
Yeah.
It's there throughout the comic, right? And so you've got all of the Rosemary content you could need just in the comic, but before the comic completed, you didn't have all of that.
Yeah.
And so people were doing more fandom about Rosemary back in the day.
Yeah.
It is foundational.
Yeah, that is the thing with Rosemary, is it's like, well, I mean, like, there's not a lot for me to say on it because, like, the comic did it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the problem. It's like, I understand why people get mad that the Rosemary, like, tag on AO3 is all, like, them being secondary and, like, usually telling, like, Dave Cat how to work things out. And I definitely think that people need to tag their shit better on AO3, but that's just an AO3 problem, not a Homestuck problem. But, it is just, like, a lot was... It did, like, a lot of things in the comic that there's just not as much to explore as far as, like, figuring shit out. Like, Dave Cat was left on a sort of ambiguous mark, and Rosemary was just Rosemary. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm spoiling stuff for Moosie because I forgot where I was.
Dave and Karkat don't get together, is the idea.
Well...
I knew they were buddies.
I mean, look, there's actually quite a bit of interesting detail in how that happens. So, don't write it off, is what I'll say about that.
Yeah, I got too into my gay shipping that I forgot.
Nah, you're
about
good.
Spoilers.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't say you've been spoiled on that. Watch it happen before you decide how that goes.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Rosemary. What? I mean, I kind of know your answer. What character do you think people don't talk about enough?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could give Jane Crocker, and that would be the obvious answer for me to give.
Yeah.
And, I think that is the one I have to give.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Because, like... I don't know that Jane needs to be talked about more. Like, it's complicated, because I like Jane Crocker a lot. And, like, I think she gets ignored in the sense that there's not, like, a lot of fan content about her, right? But, like, I also kind of get it in some ways, because, like, and again, I'm gonna ignore, like, all of the post-canon epilogues and stuff about Jane.
For sure. This is just core comic.
Yeah. Like, core comic Jane is, like, she has her stuff, and then and then she's done, and, like, she kind of ends up with the Rosemary problem, where it's like, I love her a lot, but, like, what more is there to say about Jane Crocker, right? And, like, don't get me wrong, I think there is some things to say about Jane Crocker. I think she's at least as interesting to discuss as Vriska.
Oh.
Right?
Oh.
That's interesting.
That's big.
Okay, yeah.
That's a big thing to say.
I do think that's true, but like, if you have fun discussing Vriska's motivations, I think you can dig into Jane Crocker in the same way.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Especially if you start taking in the supplemental post-canon content.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I actually do agree with that.
Thank you.
I think most of the main Homestuck characters you can dive into as deeply as Vriska. I think a lot of people don't, because there is something particularly compelling about Vriska.
Because Vriska was made to start discussions.
Yes.
Bad discussions, but discussions.
Right.
What is one character you think that people should talk about more? Do you have one?
Salamanders.
I agree.
Oh my god, what are they called? Consorts. All of them.
Consorts?
All of them.
consorts don't get enough love. Whenever they were on the LAN fucking gaming party.
Yeah.
Playing that Ghostbusters MMORPG.
Moosie's over here loving all these goddamn consorts. Fucking pain in the ass.
That's a good. I was trying to figure out something clever to say about the mayor.
Yeah.
But because people should talk about the mayor, he deserves it.
Yeah.
He does.
I think they should talk about the mayor more than, well, he's cute in there. Because, like, so I have this thing where, like, I get why the mayor is, like, a cute mascot for the Meteor Kids.
Yeah.
But he also led a revolution, like, for his game.
Yeah, I think that's like I think the Carapacians in general need to be more discussed. Like I really like the way that like we talked a little bit earlier about how Spurb is like kind of a facade, right? Like it's like just like a shitty game with like that layer of fantasy paint over it, and like everybody makes fun of it all the time. But the Carapacians are really interesting because they are wholly bought in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the mayor leads a whole revolution and like shows if you buy into their lives, you see that there is like a reality of people behind that facade, and that everybody making fun of it maybe isn't quite right.
Yeah.
You know? And that's an interesting tension that I think exists within the comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do love cute mayor, but I also, like, the more I think about it, the more I kind of get annoyed with the fandom and the comic kind of writing him off as a cute. It's like, he probably has, like, PTSD because he did not win that revolution. Jack slaughtered everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just something that the comic doesn't care to explore, and the fandom then also doesn't care to explore, because that's the last half of the comic doesn't talk about it.
Yeah. And now that the fandom are the ones writing the comic, like...
Yeah.
I think that, like, while we're on the subject of the Carapacians, I think the White Queen is a deeply interesting character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of glossed over because she's also, like, fairly tropey, right? And, like, you can explain a lot of her actions with, like, the generic fantasy tropes that she's playing into, right? But, like, I think the particular way that she's worked into the comic is very interesting, and seeing those dynamics at play between her and PM is, like, so fascinating.
Yeah. I also think, kind of in a similar vein to the mayor, I don't like how everyone buys into what the comic says about Fafetta. Fafetta, to me, was Hussey saying, you guys wanted more of these characters that we killed off. And it's what Aerosol was, too, even though Solix is still alive. Sort of. Solix is Solix. Solix is alive, dead. But it's like, here, you wanted more Nepeta, you wanted more Faferi. I don't have anything more to say with them, so they won't get lines. They will exist for people to talk at and to talk about, and they will explode because everyone else is putting all of these pressures and expectations and what they want them to be onto them.
Yeah.
And that is their purpose. And it's like, you wanted them, here they are, boom. And there's other parts I obviously can't talk about yet, but that is the Fafetta part of it.
Yeah. Have you gotten to, like... Have they... Okay, you said they explode. Have they exploded?
They've exploded.
Okay, cool. So, like, you have seen the line where, like, Roxy says something along the lines of, like, oh, yeah, we have such interesting conversations, right? Like, it's so explicitly taunting about the fact that we aren't seeing them talk.
Right, and how Fafetta, like, was one of the reasons that Roxy was able to sober up. And it's just, like, to me, that is a middle finger at the fans who wanted more Faferi and Nepeta, because Hussey said, I didn't have anything more with these characters. They died because I had too many characters, and there were ones that did not have any more purpose.
Whose fault was that, Hussey?
Right, exactly. It's like, you did not have to make these 12 characters, of which were only supposed to be tropes, and then you had to kill them off because you had too many, and you didn't have anything more to say about them beyond the tropes that they existed to poke fun at.
Right. But also, that's a very Homestuck thing to do.
Exactly.
most of the action of Homestuck happens off screen.
Yeah.
It's like Shakespeare in that way, funnily enough.
Yeah.
I guess my issue is more with the fandom then latched onto that as dear sweet precious Fafetta, and that is all she is. To me, Fafetta is an object. Like, she is nothing more than an object, and the fandom also only treats her like that.
All right, everybody, take that out of context right now.
We're not on separate tracks. I can't get you a clean clip of it.
But, yeah, and so it's just like, the fandom does not explore Fafetta more than the meme potential that Hussey put her in as.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's kind of disappointing for me. I don't have a lot of thoughts about Fafetta, because I don't have a lot of thoughts about... I have more thoughts about Nepeta than Faferi. I'm so sorry, Faferi, and also Nepeta, really. But, but it is just frustrating that... I don't know, because I don't even want to say it's like just because I'm on more of a Doylist analysis streak lately. But I do think that it is, like, they did just take this at face value and didn't, like, dig any deeper into Fafetta from what I've seen, and she just wins like sprite pulls and stuff because meme potential and not because like anyone actually cares about her as a character. They care about poor sweet precious Fafetta.
Yeah.
Or dear sweet, not poor. I mean, for me poor.
And that whole phrasing of how she is also like a jab at, because like back in the day, right, like those characters also got bastardized to hell and back when like in the way that fans thought about and treated them.
Yeah.
Right? Like Nepeta, right, is like an absolute feral cat girl, like lives in the cave, eats bugs in the woods type of person.
Yeah.
And like all of the fandom just treated her as like, you know, the cute cat girl girlfriend that you want.
Right.
Yeah.
And like she's very much not that. She's like Vincent. She's the bastard cat.
Vincent is my cat. Vincent's my cat.
Yeah.
Nepeta was the cat girlfriend that I want.
And so like the whole like Dear Sweet Precious is like making fun of the way that the fandom treats those two as just like, oh, the sweet girls, when neither of them are that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Can someone read what's on screen, because I have to turn away from the mic to do that.
Oh yeah. I used to be terrified of Vriska growing up. Like, I used to not be able to see or hear anything about her. It was bad.
I mean, that's fair. Vriska. Like, I loved Vriska. I have no idea why. Because, like, normally, knowing who I was at that time, I have no idea why I liked Vriska. But I always did. But there was something about... Oh, yeah. Maybe that was what was said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only half reading. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
You can pull up the chat on your phone.
I could pull up the chat on my phone.
Like, you can just do that.
I can. I keep forgetting I can do that. It's like, it's behind me. There's no other way to do this.
There's only one way to see Twitch chat, and it's behind you.
Yeah. Let me turn all the volume down. Yeah, I definitely understand when people, like, aren't into Vriska or, like, you know, don't like to see anything about Vriska for various reasons. That's TikTok, not Twitch. Do I have Twitch on this phone?
Do you not have a way to view your... God.
No, there it is.
We're professionals.
Listen,
Is it gonna make you sign in because you haven't been on in 30 days?
No. I just have to figure out how to get to my chat. Here we go. Yeah, no, I like Vriska though. I just get why people.
You know,
don't. She was made to not be liked and to be liked.
Yeah.
You know, we've done favorites for pretty much every category thus far.
We've done favorites for
like,
Beta Kids,
yeah.
Guardians, and Sprites.
Trolls.
This is so hard for me. I think Kanaya has to be my favorite. Because like she was my favorite character before Dirk was. Like she was my icon. I got back into just drawing Kanaya over and over and over and over again. I don't really relate to her. I really relate to her in some way, but she is so much more of a nurturing person.
Yeah.
I would not care about the survival of my species. In that sort of like, you know, duty sense. There's just a lot about Kanaya's theming that I don't personally vibe with, but I love Kanaya so much. What about you?
God, it's been so long since I've like really cared about the majority of the trolls.
Rude.
Yeah, I know. I think I have gained a like much larger appreciation for Aradia since the old days. Like, I wouldn't have told you I was a big Aradia fan back then. I think I am now.
One of the most iconic parts of Homestuck is John being like, "So, what do you want out of all this?" "Oh, I just want to see what happens when everything falls apart." Peak. Love Aradia.
It's very good.
Justin.
Are we only gonna talk the main 12?
Yeah, we can have a different one for before us.
Okay. Well, I just meant that we already talked about Gallic earlier.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
God, this is hard, actually. I really enjoy Nepeta as she actually is.
Yeah.
Not how the fandom made her, but like as just this feral, incredibly skilled hunter that regularly takes down very large beasts and also likes to just role play.
Yeah.
And then she gets on her chat client and acts cute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, if Nepeta glomps you, that's a threat.
Right. Yeah. Right. Either that or Karkat, because
Karkat's also great.
just why are you so angry, boy?
Yeah. Karkat's probably my second choice. I think I have the most thoughts about Vriska, but Kanaya and Karkat are probably my favorites.
I like Karkat the best because he's angry, and I have a lot of latent anger that I'm not allowed to express at my job.
You're just gonna roleplay Karkat to get it all out.
Yeah.
I
Have you have to have done Karkat's memo with himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, which one? But
Look.
Yeah.
Self-cessed but Black Rom is,
Yeah.
is incredibly good and powerful, and I love
mean,
it.
yeah.
That was Jade and Jade Sprite too.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been a you haven't gotten to one of them yet, but there's one later on that's also like, this would also be Black Rom if it was self-cessed. That's just how it appears. It's like no one hates themselves more than themselves. Like Dirk and Hal could be Black Rom self-cessed. It's just like, yeah, that's I love it so much. But like Karkat's the only one where it's literally himself, the
Yeah.
version of himself, just in the like 5 minutes ago or 5 minutes in the future.
Yeah.
Like everyone else has like some sort of like doomed timeline or brain copy or something, right?
There's things that make us different people. With
Yeah.
Karkat, no.
It's literally just him.
He changed his text color in that 5 minutes. Like that's a different person.
Yeah.
I did love that because that was a reference to Hal changing the... I forget if it was Hal referencing Karkat or Karkat referencing Hal. It's like if two people are going to talk to the same color, one has to change to red. That is a rule that everyone should have.
Before we get off of the subject of trolls, I do also...
Package has arrived for me.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I do also want to say, honorary mention to Feferi
Yeah.
is someone that people should like get a better understanding of.
Yes.
Like, I know we've talked about how the fandom kind of bastardized her in the same way as Nepeta, but like also a character who is like very deeply interesting if you consider the implications of the things that are said about her.
Right, and she is the reason dream bubbles exist. Like,
That
she
too.
got the horror terrorists to make the dream bubbles, but because Aradia kind of shepherds people through them, she's kind of considered the dream bubble person. But yeah, people don't think about that as much. And I feel so bad for the person who did the Pester Quest route for Feferi, because I know he loved Feferi so much. But his route also did not actually deal with Feferi.
Yeah. I know that like Aradia and Feferi are like people like to ship them, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's like Bloodcast stuff, though,
yeah,
right?
that's like often Bloodcast stuff. But I think that overshadows the more interesting shared thing that those characters have, which is the dream bubble stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's an interesting potential unexplored ship dynamic for them.
Yeah. Okay, what about Alpha Kids? Two of our answers are obvious.
Yeah, I'm Jane. I like Jane a lot.
I like Dirk.
I hate all the Alpha Kids. I'm sorry.
Really?
Oh, valid.
That's
They're
fine.
insufferable.
They're all fucking terrible.
They were made to be terrible, but it's in a way that a way that I get annoyed that fandom doesn't really deal with, but I will let Moosie answer before I get into that.
I don't really like any of them either.
Fair enough.
I feel
Especially dislike Jake.
Yeah. If I have to give it, Jake is so fucking head empty, but not a himbo.
Yeah.
I think the one that I find most tolerable is Roxy.
Yeah, people forget that the Alpha Kids are all 15 and 16-year-olds who are terrible to each other.
Right,
That is their whole point, is they all suck. They all suck to each other. No one is morally superior to the other in the friendship. They all have parts of themselves that they are hiding or working on or try to present as their true selves and are not. Dirk is terrible to each and every one of his friends. Roxy is terrible to each and every one of her friends. It just goes around the whole thing. And some people... What frustrates me about some Roxy fans is they try to make her as, the good alpha kid, but she's not. And Jake, unfortunately, suffers from the Hussy hates this character curse.
Yeah.
So let me sort of pitch something here, and all three of you have more recent experience with Homestuck than I do. So tell me if there's an obvious hole in this.
Yeah.
I think the alpha kids aren't friends. I think that Dirk and Roxy originally got in touch with Jane and Jake because they knew what the future held. This is sort of just a headcanon. I don't think there's a whole lot in the script that plays into this, but it does make sense as to why they all kind of hate each other.
See, I disagree that they all hate each other. I think they're just all shitty to each other. Dirk and Jane have a deep friendship that everyone forgets about. They get each other on a level that, I don't think the rest of them do. Detective Pony is, peak that. That is the explanation of Detective Pony, is how deep Dirk and Jane's friendship is. I think they are all really, really good friends. I think they are all 15 and 16-year-olds.
Yeah. I could see your argument, though, for them being, just kind of, acquaintances by fate, right? I do think that...
People who are forcing themselves to be friends because they know they have to.
I think that there is something to that. I don't know that it's, my primary way of reading them, but I could see that as a reading, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, I just do. I think because I just so very much relate to them as how I was as a terrible 15 and 16-year-old, that I very much see my own friendship dynamics in them. And there are a lot of friends that I was genuinely friends with now, and now I'm no, I do fucking hate them, and I was kind of probably more friends with them because we were in a population 100 town high school, right?
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of other friends to have. But I do think that they do genuinely like each other. It's just they're just kind of shitty.
I think also something that could play into this is that one way of reading Homestuck is that it's a story about how online friendships fall apart, right? Every group of characters starts out as this general group of online friends. Maybe not everybody in the group is equally close, right? But you've got this kind of friendship web that connects all of the trolls, and all the beta kids are friends, and all the alpha kids start off as kind of a loosely connected web of online friends that are they're close and they all know each other and they all have relationships, but maybe are kind of forcing it if you want to read it that way. And, like, all of these groups kind of, like, you know, they get distance over the course of the comic.
Sorry, I'm having war flashbacks to post-canon.
Yeah. Fair. And I'm trying not to,
No, for
like,
sure, for
make
sure,
that
for sure.
be a post-canon reading. You can include it in your post-canon readings.
For sure.
But, like...
No, sorry. Yeah, no, I definitely get that. And I think, like, we see that really obviously with Karkat. Karkat is the one who most blatantly expresses his anxiety about staying friends with people.
Yeah.
We do get a bit of that from Dave when he's talking to himself. But, and even when he's talking to Jade, Grimbark Jade. But, yeah, no, that's a really good reading of it.
I don't, like, love it because, like, I am invested in all of the relationships in Homestuck, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I you know, without getting into ending of Homestuck stuff,
Yeah.
right? I think that it is possible to still read the ending with, like, many of these people are still very close,
Yeah.
right? I don't think you have to read Homestuck as everybody falls apart at the end.
No, for sure.
And it's not my favorite reading, but it is one that I like to play with sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Homestuck's one of those works where I just like to hold multiple readings in my head simultaneously.
I think you have to. I think
Yeah.
Homestuck, like, requires you to hold multiple readings.
Yeah.
Or encourages you.
Homestuck during the epilogues, like,
Well,
sorry, I don't know how to say this without.
Should I plug my ears? I'll
Never
You'll
mind.
just hear a
I'm just
door.
gonna leave it. I'm gonna not say what I'm thinking here.
yeah.
Other than, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so, before us, Trolls.
Running down the list in my head really quick.
Right.
Okay. Everybody's gonna hate this a lot. Okay.
Horace.
I really like what Horace brings. I really like what Horace brings to the table for class specting purposes. Horace makes the voice. No, he single-handedly makes the void aspect interesting.
See, I do like Horace a little bit more just because, like, one day I was scrolling through a bunch of Homestuck fics and I found a Roxy Horace ship fic, and it was you know they just did it because it's void shipping. But it did make me appreciate Horace a little bit more.
Yeah. I think when Horace is talking about and relating to his aspect, he's great. I think any other time, he's a struggle, but I like him.
A struggle, sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't dislike him that much. He just, yeah, that is very funny that I, like, made a joke answer. And I'm like, who is the person who everyone would hate the most that you said?
Yeah, and you were correct.
Justin?
Look, I don't think I really like any of the Dancestors. I definitely relate most with Circuit.
Yeah.
Because I will pay you $30 if you listen to me talk about Digimon for an hour.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay me. You can just do that.
Yeah.
You can just hit me up and talk about Digimon.
Extremely good.
I already learned 4 beta kids, 4 alpha kids, and 12 beta trolls. I don't really remember any of the
Yeah.
alpha trolls.
Valid.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
They are pretty forgettable.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much only, like, 2 matter. 2.5.
Yeah.
Because technically Krillose matters, but barely shows up. Does not have enough personality.
Does he matter?
He matters plot-wise.
Does he?
Yeah, because he is instrumental to getting some of the pieces of the outfit for both Gamzee and the coat.
Is getting Gamzee's
Not
God
just
tier
Gamzee,
outfit...
but like the Cairo overcoat.
What?
He gets Vriska's jacket for the Cairo overcoat.
I get... Okay. Yeah, sure. I guess I'll accept that.
Yeah. I assume he's doing more shit that we just don't see, but it is primarily Gamzee doing all of it. But yeah. My favorite is very hard because I mean I also really like Arania, Circuit. She is quite the mood. I love Vriska corrupting her. It's so funny.
I love that I've added a new pronunciation to the list of pronunciations you make when you do her.
Yeah, it's just so hard because I just want to say Arania, but after our like huge confusion with Arania at the same time, it's
This is why I just said circuit.
yeah, I figured. But being with friends with that one person did make me appreciate Cronus more. And I've also done some role plays that make me appreciate Cronus more. And then Rufio's just hot. I objectify Rufio.
As you should.
As unfortunately is common for him to the point that he really likes Mina because she doesn't.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Okay, now who's everybody's favorite ancestor troll?
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like God.
And then, who's everybody's favorite ancestor trolls that we never hear about ever?
Except for we hear about Alpha Feferi.
Yeah.
Sort of. For like half a second.
I know that everybody... Look, the fact that we meet all of the Dancestors, and the fact that sucks so much, is valid criticism of Homestuck. However...
I don't think it sucks so much.
I think it sucks pretty hard.
It's
I love
almost entirely meaningless.
I love it.
However, I do want to hear all about the Before Us ancestors.
Right, no,
I want to hear
absolutely.
about Before Us Karkat.
Yeah. I want to hear more about Before Us.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting world building. And Mina makes no sense with Before Us world building. They just wanted a mini Condus.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with the Ancestors is because they're supposed to be more of a reflection of the Dancestors, but they're not. They're not. Hussey retconned it. Ancestors were meant to be a reflection of the beta kids, or the beta trolls, the Alternian trolls, and then it was like, oh wait, I have these Dancestors, and they're genetically the same.
Yeah.
And that's what that is, and that's why I don't like analyzing them to come to conclusions about the Ancestors.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And Mind Fang's another one of those where people just forget shit she actually did just because she's a Vriska, and so they have to like her. But I don't really have that many opinions on the Ancestors. But
Me neither.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's all the character groups.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I could list more, but we're not going to do that.
yeah. I mean, we could go to
What's
the
everybody's favorite gusher flavor that appears in Homestuck?
Jesus Christ.
My mom never bought me Gushers growing up, so I don't know.
What's your favorite type of grist?
I like the perfectly generic object. I know that's not a grist, but you can get it with the grist.
It
You can.
it looks a lot like grist.
I mean, I know you don't, but do either of you have any other Homestuck projects that you are working on or otherwise want to shout out or have worked on?
No.
Not currently. At least not that are currently publicly available, or that I have any plans to make publicly available anytime soon.
Surprise, I made a whole Homestuck game. No.
That's actually winning on my what other projects do you want me to do poll in my Discord server.
A Homestuck game?
Yeah, I listed as one of the options a Homestuck interactive fiction game.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, should we just play Genesis Project next time we get together?
Yeah, we've been meaning to play Genesis Project for a while, and it's just never happened.
We don't need to get together to play Genesis Project.
That's true.
We don't. In
Get
fact, it's
together
probably
in
more
spirit.
difficult for us to play it.
We're just like leaning over Justin's shoulder. I mean, I guess you'd have the TV up here.
We'd have to do a LAN party.
God, does it support that?
I mean, you could always use... Was it a tool that let us do LAN over the internet or internet over LAN?
There's like the like Steam Play Together remote whatever. Or there is, oh my god, what is that tool called?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I think
either.
it was the opposite way of what we need, though. The LAN over the internet
Yeah.
for like doing LAN parties, but over the internet.
Yeah. No, there was something that a friend and I used. So we played One Step from Eden together because that's only local co-op.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know the service you're talking about, but I cannot remember the name.
I
It's
haven't
what-
needed
it's-
it since like 2008.
It's what the fucking McElroys are using to do the one controller three people thing.
Is One Step from Eden co-op fun?
I mean, I only played it for an hour or so, but I enjoyed it. Yeah.
We should look into doing that sometime.
Okay. All right. I'm very bad at the game. I need to warn you.
That's okay. I am bad too. I haven't
Okay.
completed it yet.
You're probably. I don't think I'll ever complete it.
Yeah, no, it's a tough game. But I like bashing my head against the wall.
Yeah. What if Mega Man Battle Network, but frustrating?
Do you have a project that you like and you want more people to know about, Homestuck wise? Like, whether it's like a fan venture or anything? You're not really super into the fan stuff.
I'm
though.
not.
Yeah, I haven't been engaged in a while.
Go commission the artist who does Crow Strider AU.
Yeah,
Go read
that's a
Crow
good
Strider
one.
AU.
Yeah.
To
She,
be honest.
I got some interstitial art from her, and it's fantastic.
I guess I threw these out at the start of the podcast, but go check out Subgrubs and Snazzards. See what they're up to. I haven't had the chance to run the game yet, and like I said, there's some very weird stuff about it. So like I'm not like I want to see how it plays. But you know, reading it is fun. It's a very fun read, and if you're at all interested in a Homestuck tabletop that takes place on Alternia, you should give it a read and see if it's for you, because it might be.
I want the Doom timelines to come back.
Yeah, yeah.
That is Domi's Podfic podcast.
If you want the Doom timelines to come back, we need to talk about that.
I
Because we
know.
can make it happen.
I know.
We've talked about making it happen together.
We have. I just
But
need
it's
to-
on you
It is
right
on
now
me.
to have the time to make it come back.
Yeah.
If there is anybody listening to this, if there is a time that you want to doom the line of, send $30
Okay.
to Domi. What's your PayPal?
My PayPal is also Domino Thief. But, like, to be 100% clear on what that means, if you have a fanfic that you want Podfic made out of, get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Once again, my Discord is Domino Thief. Also, you know, I would want to get a hold of and make sure that I have the author's permission to do that. But, like,
For sure.
if you toss some money at us, I guess we'd be willing to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. There's so many, like, someone just pay me, God, I would need more than $2,000 a month in order to quit my job and work on this full time, because that's taxes and everything too.
Yeah.
Imagine being a creative who can live in like a country that has healthcare.
Yeah,
without jobs.
right?
Right, yeah.
Here's what I'll shout out. This is not a Homestuck thing, but what I'll shout out is, like, Jax wants to make more money on this podcasting thing, and, like, I like Homestuck a lot. I like this podcast a lot. I like working on this podcast a lot. Homestuck's not currently an upwardly mobile thing. Let's
the
be
Homestuck
frank.
team could not make enough money to work on Homestuck.
So, if you're at all into, like, gaming, you should go check out Fake Gamer Bro. It's Jax's mobile games podcast. It's not currently updating, but Jax is working on getting it updating again in the future.
yeah.
And I have a lot of fun working on it. I think it's very good. The discussions surrounding the games there are very good. And I think I do agree with kind of the premise of the podcast that mobile games need to be given more attention and more thought, because they are a unique kind of gaming art form. And
Yeah.
the discussions are very fun and interesting.
Yeah, because people both write off mobile games as being only Candy Crush, but then they also write off Candy Crush. Like, there are criticisms to be made about Candy Crush as a not as a concept, but as it was implemented.
Yeah, it has some exploitative systems involved.
And that's a problem with a lot of mobile games, but I mean we see that in regular games too, and we're able to talk about that without destroying like console games as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jax also like brings games to the show that often don't have quite as exploitative systems, right? Like Jax talks about a lot of indie games on that show that have remarkably good monetization.
Yeah, usually
and
it's pay to get rid of ads
Yeah.
for like $3.
and are incredibly fun. I've played a number of mobile games off of the back of editing that show, and it's been a delightful time. Go give it a look, and if you really like it, pay Jax a little bit of money so that we can dedicate more time to that show, because it deserves it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the path forward for Jax.
There's also another podcast that I don't want to jinx by saying it's definitely going to come out, so you're not hearing any more details except for that. There was a podcast that we almost made last year, and then there was a recording issue that made me angry, and I spiritually destroyed my
Let's try
computer.
next weekend, and then we didn't.
yeah. So there's a thing that me and Moosie wanna make, and we're hopefully going to actually do it. But that will also be something that is niche and not the same way Homestuck is. Homestuck, yeah. I love you, Homestuck. You will never be a moneymaker. You're not a moneymaker for literally anyone except for Hussey during its height. But yeah. I just want to see more fan projects out there, and I want to talk about more of them on my podcast. So go to livelaughstuck.com. I need to get an actual link up there for it so you don't have to just go to the show notes of episodes. But I have a place where you can submit fan projects, and I kind of phrase it like it's your fan project. But if there is a different fan project you want me to check out, I will try to find the creator and see if they are into talking about it. Because obviously it's not in its heyday as 2012, it's not in its heyday of 2019, but I know there's still fan projects out there going on, and I want to bring people on to talk about them. I've talked about back in the day, I've talked about Anna's, oh my god, as I was saying it, I forgot what the name
Times
of the...
Apprentice?
Times Apprentice musical. I have talked about some fan adventures, like, again, I'm starting to talk about them and I forget. But I've talked about fan adventures. More recently, I've talked about... I've gotten the people who did the unofficial Homestuck collection on to talk about that. I've talked about Polyswap and Drone Season. And, I just like talking about people's fan projects. I've talked about Harley's fanfic, but that's only because it's over 2 million words.
If you're doing anything Homestuck and you want to get some more eyes on it, like, reach out. We would very much be willing to discuss doing an episode about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, because I think just more fan projects need to be talked about and created and done. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we are almost at an hour past when we were going, and I feel like this is kind of like we were naturally coming to a conclusion here. So, Domi, you've said a couple of times where to find you. Go ahead and say again.
Just message Domino Thief on Discord. I don't really use much social media at the moment. If you want to try to find me on Tumblr, you can do that at dominothief.tumblr.com, except you gotta triplicate the I's. It's in the Ardata quirk, because I lost that original URL. So it's DOMIIINOTHEIIIF.
IIEF.
Yeah, which is EF.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is obnoxious to have to explain now that I've had to do so.
Yeah, and you're also Domino Thief on Ko-fi.
Oh yeah, I am.
Yes. And SoundCloud.
And SoundCloud, which I guess I'll be posting to more now that I'm doing music again.
Nice.
So yeah.
Cool.
Justin, where to find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky and Twitter not Twitter, that's incorrect. Blue Sky and Discord at Tensei Dragon, TENSEI DRAGON. You can also find me behind the scenes running production on the vast majority of shows. on the Bard Rock Network, where we do a bunch of different actual play type stuff. That's it.
That's all.
No, I'm a bunch of other places, but I'm not
Yeah.
going to take a whole 5 minutes.
You can find all my social stuff on my personal homepage, rachel.likespizza.com. That's RACHEL, the proper way to spell Rachel.
Wow, shots fired.
So there's links to like my Mastodon and stuff on there, and I built that webpage to look like the 90s internet.
very good.
Then there's also just moosity.itcha.io. And then there's links to my YouTube channel. I have a 1-episode podcast so far
Yeah.
called Bad Game Ideas, where I come up with a bad game idea title, and then I make the other person, the guest, come up with what the game is going to be. What's the genre? How's the mechanics work?
Oh, that sounds fun.
That's yeah.
Yeah, I need to do it more. It's just hard to inconvenience people to come record thing.
Yeah, you really got to be forceful and remind people, or get someone like Justin. You just say, "Hey, do you want to record something?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
The episode of Fake Gamer Bro that hasn't come out yet, it's just Jack saying, "Hey, we should record something soon," and I said, "I'm free for the next 4 hours."
Yeah.
And then they called my bluff.
Yeah. You can find all my general stuff at jaxyaks.com, JAXYACKS. The podcast is at livelaughstuck.com. I have a tab specifically for all the socials. So the Discord is the best place to keep up with what I have going on. I have a fairly inconsistent newsletter because no one gives a shit about newsletters, but I keep trying because I don't want to have all these different social media accounts for Live Laugh Stuck or my projects, and it's a good thing because my Tumblr also got nuked that Live Laugh Stuck was on. So that's fun. I'm still trying to get it back, but Tumblr keeps losing. But yeah, so that's where you can find me. I have Jack's Yaks on Ko-fi, and that's where you can support to be a member as little as $1 a month. You get like more perks the higher up you get, but you get like all the bonus content at $1. Which is probably bad because you do get fees to hanging out at the $1 tier, but I always want it to be accessible for just like the normal bonus content. So unless the fees start getting crazy, I'm going to try to keep it at that. Yeah, and I think that's it. Justin, do you have the controller so you can stop the stream so I don't have to keep talking?
Yeah, but you can just keep talking if you want.
I mean, I could just keep talking forever, but I could also like stop this so I